There was no reply. There was no reply. Yemo breathed easy. Just what power level was this guy when he lived? He had been dead for all these years, but the remnant chi he had could force a golden immortal middle stage back so many times. This person was definitely countless times stronger than the Freedom King. Yemo's spirit sense fell on that staff. He knew it was definitely a top-grade magic artifact. He was an immortal forgery master, but still couldn't tell what level it was. Although Yemo knew the golden skeleton was a priceless treasure, he had no interest in this body. He would take the staff and go. This wasn't a place to stay for long. Thinking about this, Yemo tried to take the staff with his spirit sense. "You're not the fated one," another extremely powerful force shook him further away. Those words were imprinted in his brain. "Qianbei's essence spirit is still alive?" Yemo asked with uncertainty. If this person even had just a sliver of essence spirit left, he wouldn't be able to get up from here. Only a status immortal can be fated. Come back after you become a status immortal. That message appeared in his brain. Yemo was certain that the skeleton had sliver of essence spirit left and quickly bowed. Wanbei was impulsive and broke into Qianbei's solitary cultivation grounds. Wanbei will leave now and promise not to spill this place out. If in the future you can go to Fan, do Heaven's 9 Fan Immortal Pond, and kill Yu Jinxiang for me, I will immediately give you something you really need and another powerful heritage. A message appeared in his mind again. Yemo sneered. Fandu Heaven was one of the 11 grand heaven domains. Going there to kill someone was suicide. Plus, he already had enough good things. The staff was good, but dying for it was not worth it. Plus, this essence spirit didn't even force him to make an oath. Things clearly weren't ordinary. Seeing there was no resistance, Yemo accelerated and quickly left from this broken stealth formation. As soon as he came out, he received another message. "Sai, you don't even care about the Chaos Blue Reed." Yemo was shook. As an immortal, great master, he knew what it was better than anyone. It was the best body refinement nirvana immortal spirit herb. Its value wasn't something ordinary level 9 immortal spirit herbs could compare with. Yet, this person knew he needed it the most now. If it was some other immortal who was God state peak stage, he definitely would turn back, but Yemo was used to seeing things much better than the Chaos Blue Reed. The Chaos Blue Reed was precious, but since there was life-threatening danger, he didn't want to stay here. This essence spirit could send messages in his brain so easily. Even though he wasn't afraid of possession, he didn't want to stay here. Without hesitation, he turned his head back, fleeing with water mobility. The reason he turned back was to confuse the skeleton. Regardless whether skeleton tried to keep him or not, Yemo would leave first out of safety. If that skeleton indeed wanted to attack him, trying to get him to go back, perhaps that action might buy a second for him. Indeed, as soon as Yemo used mobility, a powerful spirit sense charged into his octagonal cauldron. Even though Yemo had a spirit sense cultivation method, he felt extremely weak and immediately spat blood. This skeleton indeed wanted to harm him, but that spirit sense could only attack Yemo once and couldn't keep hunting him anymore. Yemo charged to the side quickly and fell to the ground, panting for breath. That was too close. Luckily, he was golden immortal middle stage and was vigilant and wasn't lured by the Chaos Blue Reed. Otherwise, he wouldn't just be dead. He was certain that the skeleton used a spirit sense cultivation method, one that was more powerful than his. But Yemo didn't understand why the skeleton didn't attack when he first entered the stealth formation and instead attacked after he left. Yemo sat down after a while and found in shock that his spirit sense was extremely weak and couldn't even recover. Now he realized why the skeleton didn't attack when he first went in. The skeleton could only use it once, and he saved it for possession. Seeing that he was going, he got worried. More than half of his power was related to spirit sense. What would he do if his sea of consciousness was damaged just due to one attack? This person only had a sliver of essence, spirit left, and there was such a distance between them, and in a rush, yet he could still heavily injure his spirit sense. Just how powerful was this person? This cultivator's spirit sense was so powerful, meaning that he had a powerful spirit sense cultivation method. If he was closer, even a great unity immortal cultivator would be killed. Yemo panted. His body was still very weak, and his spirit sense was greatly damaged. Now he couldn't even gather up his immortal essence. He slowly got up, despite knowing that skeleton couldn't come to the surface. Yemo didn't want to stay here anymore. If he knew there was such a terrifying skeleton below, he wouldn't dare to cultivate here for half a year. Luckily, he had many corner soul weeds. He couldn't take them out now, but if he recovered a little spirit sense, he could. He needed to find a place to recover his spirit sense now. He couldn't use his spirit sense, so he couldn't connect to the golden page world and go in. Yemo was very careful. He knew that there was a huge blue rock on the way he came, and there was only 5 minutes distance to it. As long as he got near there, he would be able to hide inside, recover some of his sea of consciousness, and go into the golden page world and use corner soul weeds. Yemo only walked out for less than 15 minutes when a blue figure rapidly came over. There was someone chasing behind the blue figure. The blue figure seemed heavily injured. Moments later, that figure was in front of Yemo. When he saw who that cultivator was, Yemo almost cursed. It was that cold-faced Jinbingyu. Her hair was messy and blood was all over her body. When he saw her, she also saw him. There was surprise and joy in her eyes, and she quickly said, "Martial brother, ye please help." Yemo carefully moved to the side, meaning, "Keep running. This has nothing to do with me." But Jinbingyu didn't notice at all. She went to Yemo's side and stopped. She released her black sword and hacked over at the chasing abstruse immortal with a sword mist. This was an abstruse immortal middle stage. Jinbingyu was no match for him, even if she wasn't injured. But now she was heavily injured. "I'll hold this person here. Quickly attack!" Jinbingyu thought Yemo would immediately attack, as Yemo gave her the impression that he knew when to take the best opportunity. She believed that Yemo would help no matter what. This person was an abstruse immortal middle stage, and if Yemo killed him, his storage ring would be a fortune. Plus, she knew Yemo. But what shook her was that Yemo didn't even move and yelled instead, "Help my ass! What direction can't you run to? Why do you have to run over here? You only haven't seen me for half a year. Do you miss me this much? You idiot!" Yemo could not be furious. This was his weakest moment. He was meat on the chopping block. But Jinbingyu brought over such a powerful enemy. And since Jinbingyu was no match for him, after she was killed, he would be next. But now he couldn't even use his final means and go into the golden page world. How could he not despair? Yemo could not be furious. This was his weakest moment. He was meat on the chopping block. But Jinbingyu brought over such a powerful enemy. And since Jinbingyu was no match for him, after she was killed, he would be next. But now he couldn't even use his final means and go into the golden page world. How could he not despair? Jinbingyu frowned, seeing that Yemo didn't attack. But when Yemo cursed, she felt something wasn't right. At this moment, her sword mist had been broken, and before she could take her sword back, countless dark rays shot over. A huge black dragon magic artifact roared over. Jinbingyu knew that if she was caught by that, she would be dead for sure. She didn't have the time to think and released a rainbow cloud stamp. It blocked the area in front of her. She knew it wasn't enough to stop it, but she couldn't care that much anymore. Thud, thud, the black rays shot on the rainbow stamp, but even so it couldn't block the rest. With a splurge, a dark ray pierced her right rib and another dark ray shot into Yemo's chest. His body refinement was powerful, but he hadn't gone through nirvana yet. Jinbingyu immediately realized why Yemo called her an idiot. He was heavily injured too, much more serious than her. The cultivator she brought over was going to kill Yi Mo, realizing this. Zhen Bingyu spat out essence blood and released a rune. The sky rattled heavily, and the rune brought about a space windstorm as though about to tear the person caught in it to countless pieces. The abstruse immortal middle stage knew the terrifying power of this rune and immediately released a defense magic artifact while retreating. He didn't believe she would be able to get away. So what if she had a rune? Did she have more? Zhan Bingyu took out another rune, however, and spat another mouthful of blood of essence blood. Instant transmission rune. Yi Mo cursed. After she left with that rune, he would still have to die. Having a great eternity immortal master was good indeed. She even had a rune that only status immortals could make. But he clearly thought too lowly of Zhen Bingyu. When she activated the rune, Yi Mo felt a faint aroma come over, and a soft body took him. The next moment, there was a feeling of dizziness. Yi Mo relaxed a little. He knew his life was saved. In an extremely ordinary cave, Zhan Bingyu took Yi Mo inside with a pale face before setting up a few simple, low-level stealth restrictions before sitting down and panting. At this moment, she had used up almost all of her spirit sense and immortal essence. She was very weak due to repeated burning of essence blood. "It was my bad before, sorry. When I came, I didn't know you were injured," Zhen Bingyu said. Yi Mo felt a little embarrassed. Not long ago, he called her an idiot, but now she saved him again. Yi Mo coughed and waved his hand. "Never mind, you saved me. How did you offend such a powerful guy? Even if I wasn't injured, I would most likely lose fighting this guy." As he spoke, Yi Mo pulled the dark ray out from his chest while thinking whether he should ask for some pills from her. What shook him was that Zhan Bingyu changed her clothes in front of him. That blue dress was quickly taken off. She seemed to be about to take off her inner clothes. Of course Yi Mo wasn't going to look, but Zhan Bingyu didn't seem to intend to avoid him at all. After the blue dress was gone, there was an extremely thin inner armor made with heaven meridian worm silk, but that shockingly curvaceous body and silky white skin was revealed. The sturdy 2 hills in front of her chest were half revealed too. If this woman wasn't always cold and never flirted, Yi Mo would almost think she was trying to seduce him. "Wait," Yi Mo stopped her. Seeing her turn back, Yi Mo coughed. "Martial Sister Bingyu, you don't avoid people when you change clothes?" Hearing this, Zhan Bingyu frowned and said coldly, "It's just a body, nothing worth avoiding. If you almost succumb to this corporal lust, you will forever be like this. Your body refinement cultivation method is indeed powerful, but your cultivation level is only—" Zhan Bingyu stared at Yi Mo in shock. "You reached golden immortal middle stage in half a year. How is that possible?" Then, as though thinking of something, she nodded. "The cultivation method heritage you got is very substantial if you focus on the pursuit of Tao." Then she shook her head as though knowing that Yi Mo wouldn't be able to do that. Mu Wushuang was that powerful, but he was still ganged up and killed. If he focused on his Tao, would this happen? She didn't try to persuade Yi Mo anymore and continued to take off her inner clothes. She used a cleansing spell before taking out a new set and changed into it in front of Yi Mo. "I know your heritage is very powerful, but what I need to tell you is that you must not spill it or you'll be dead for sure." She finally realized why this woman knew he came out with Feng Chuanma, but still acted so calm. To her it was just corporal lust. It wasn't that she didn't understand the things between men and women, but she didn't care. She knew how to protect herself. Facing a goddess with such a beautiful face and body, Yi Mo suddenly felt at a loss. "So this means you would be willing if someone wants to sleep with you?" Yi Mo suddenly really wanted to know if she would agree. Zhan Bingyu had finished changing her clothes and sneered. "Keep dreaming. I'm not someone as innocent as Feng Chuanma. I would never give my virginity essence qi to someone." Zhan Bingyu looked at Yi Mo in contempt. "Do you do this often in front of other people? Do you do this out in the open?" Yi Mo asked. Would you change your clothes on the streets when you're heavily injured? Idiot, I'm changing here because you're more injured than me, and you can't do anything to me. Jin Bingyu cursed back. Yi Mo was completely speechless. This female cultivator seemed extremely cunning and was much more persistent in cultivation than most cultivators. Was she really an emotionless goddess? Yi Mo felt a little strange. Perhaps she thought her perception was correct. True, the body was just flesh and bones, but many cultivators came from being immortal and couldn't change their perspective. But Yi Mo immediately shook his head. He felt if he really reached Zhen Bingyu's state, it would be sad. He would rather die of old age than be like Zhen Bingyu. Nothing else mattered except for reaching the top of Tao. Can you lend me some pills? Yi Mo asked. Zhen Bingyu nodded and gave a jade bottle to Yi Mo. When you recover, we can do a deal. Yi Mo ate a few pills and finally recovered some spirit sense. Then he took out his pills without hesitation and ate them in big handfuls. His pills were much better than hers, all top grade or extreme grade. The power of the three-birth chant was shown. Yi Mo felt his immortal essence and sea of consciousness recover rapidly. But Yi Mo felt there was a shadow in his sea of consciousness that gave him an extreme sense of danger. Then Yi Mo took out a few formation flags and looked at Zhen Bingyu. I need to change clothes too, but my state isn't as high as yours. I need to set up a stealth formation. Zhen Bingyu's face was cold, and she closed her eyes to cultivate. Yi Mo didn't care. Yi Mo threw down tens of formation flags, and when his figure disappeared, Zhen Bingyu suddenly got up and murmured, He's a level 2 immortal formation master? How is there someone this insane? After Yi Mo went in the stealth formation, he immediately took out a jade, white, dark weed and started repairing his spirit sense and sea of consciousness. After Yi Mo went in the stealth formation, he immediately took out a jade, white, dark weed and started repairing his spirit sense and sea of consciousness. Only now did he feel the true power of the dark weed. His sea of consciousness was being repaired rapidly. It was many times better than pills. Yi Mo was shaken. He didn't feel the corner soul weed was anything special when his sea of consciousness was fine. But now that it was injured, he realized why it was so precious. If he concocted it into the dual spirit pill, wouldn't the effect be even better? Dual spirit pills were level 6 immortal pill. Yi Mo had decided to concoct them as soon as he reached level 6 immortal pill Great Master. After more than half of his sea of consciousness was repaired, a black that appeared in his sea of consciousness. Yi Mo was shaken. He didn't even notice a skeleton who was about to die plant a mark in his sea of consciousness. If he didn't have corner soul weeds and other pills, it would be countless years before he could repair his sea of consciousness. After that, who knew what would happen? Perhaps this spirit sense mark would have fused with his spirit sense. Would that skeleton know everything he thought by then? If that was really the case, then if that skeleton revived or possessed someone else, he would be caught anywhere. Thinking about this, Yi Mo was covered in cold sweat. He quickly forced out that dark shadow and sealed it with layers of restrictions before sealing it in a jade box. Then he carefully sealed the jade box in the golden page world. Yi Mo didn't destroy it. He never liked to take such things passively. He would pay this skeleton back in the future. After this, Yi Mo quickly stripped himself naked and burned everything with mist lotus heart fire before searching all over his body with it. Only when he was certain there were no more marks left did he feel assured. At the same time, he felt an increasingly desperate need for power. Just when Yi Mo was about to put on his clothes, Zhen Bingyu suddenly charged in. Yi Mo was dazed, but then quickly put on his clothes and stared coldly at Zhen Bingyu. I know your Tao heart is different than mine, but my body isn't just flesh and bones. I've set up a stealth formation. Don't you think you should ask before you come in? Zhen Bingyu said expressionlessly. When you reach the great Tao, you will realize that what I said is true. Body is just flesh and bones, that's it. Plus, I came in for a reason. That abstruse immortal middle stage just passed here, not far away. How do you know? Yemo asked. His body hadn't fully recovered yet. If that guy caught up, it would be very dangerous. I didn't get to take back my black sword and rainbow stamp. He is using them to sense my location. He didn't notice before, but if he passes here again he will, Jin Bingyu said calmly. Why does he have to kill you? Yemo asked with a frown. I will tell you when you recover. This also concerns our future cooperation. Zhan Bingyu nodded. Yemo was helpless and could only continue his recovery. Half an hour later, his wounds had pretty much recovered. Now he breathed easy. Even if that abstruse immortal middle stage came now, he wasn't scared. He then said to Zhan Bingyu, I'm going to set up a formation now. When I'm finished, make that trash formation you set at the cave. At least it will allow him to be able to sense you. You want to draw that abstruse immortal over and trap him with a formation. Zhan Bingyu immediately knew what Yemo meant and didn't feel unhappy at Yemo for calling her formation trash. Yemo laughed. That's right, I didn't do anything, and this bastard hit me. I don't like it. I'm going to get him back. Hearing this, Zhan Bingyu sighed. It seems I was correct. My master overestimated you. You're not mature indeed. You're very impetuous. You're still not over something this small. No matter how powerful your heritage is, you won't be able to achieve the great Tao. Small thing? Yemo looked speechlessly at this woman. He was almost killed, and this was small. There was nothing in common between them. Yemo couldn't be bothered talking to her, and started setting up formation flags. She clearly knew something about formations, and was surprised looking at the way Yemo set them up. This was because she couldn't see them with her spirit sense after Yemo set them up. Half an hour later, Yemo finished a stealth attack formation. Now he just needed to wait for the abstruse immortal to come over and die. Which cultivation realm did you ascend from? There was still no sign of that abstruse immortal, so he asked Zhan Bingyu this question. I'm not an immortal ascension cultivator. I was with my master at the extreme sword sect ever since I was young. Zhan Bingyu shook her head and said, Yemo was a little confused. Even if she was an immortal realm cultivator, there are no female cultivators who had the same perceptions as her. You want to ask why I don't care about the things between men and women, right? Zhan Bingyu was very smart. Seeing Yemo not talk, she sneered. If you want to say, I'm shameless, be straightforward. You don't understand my Tao heart. It's pointless to tell you. Of course, if you can show me your formation jade slip, so that I can easily set up a stealth formation, I would do it too. Yemo sneered and couldn't be bothered talking to her. Her wits weren't small either, and she wanted to use this opportunity to get his formation jade slip. Who did she think she was? He gave her the body refinement jade slip because she saved him before. Although she saved him just now, she brought the danger here too. Seeing Yemo ignore her, Zhan Bingyu didn't care. She knew that Yemo wouldn't agree anyways, but the body refinement cultivation method Yemo gave her was too powerful. If Yemo's formation jade slip was this powerful, then she would soon become an immortal formation master too. She didn't really intend to use Yemo. The two didn't talk anymore. The silence didn't last for a few minutes before a spirit sense scanned into the cave and a dashing light came. It was that abstruse immortal middle stage indeed. Zhan Bingyu changed the formation a little, and that person sensed the two here. Sensing this abstruse immortal's ferocious chi, Yemo knew that if he didn't use his formation, he wouldn't be a match for this guy if he was still golden immortal primary stage. But now he was golden immortal middle stage and had this formation. He believed he would be able to easily kill this abstruse immortal middle stage. The abstruse immortal came to the cave, but didn't come in immediately. He threw out some formation flags and sealed the space nearby, fearing that Zhan Bingyu would use an instant transmission rune again. He looked at the cave for a while. That golden immortal primary stage was nothing, but this woman was quite powerful. He had to ensure there was no danger here. But now Zhan Bingyu was looking at Yemo in shock. He controlled his power to be Golden Immortal Primary Stage, and she couldn't tell at all. That meant if Yemo was an abstruse immortal and kept his power at Golden Immortal Primary Stage, she still wouldn't be able to tell. The abstruse immortal checked around and didn't find anything before smirking and coming in. His black dragon magic artifact was spinning above his head. The dragon above his head roared. The dragon above his head roared. This wasn't Yemo's first time seeing such a magic artifact. It was made with a beast soul. Such magic artifacts had an artifact spirit that couldn't grow, but it was much stronger than ordinary magic artifacts without an artifact spirit. The sound made by this black dragon was heavy and powerful. Attack! The abstruse immortal cultivator didn't look at Yemo anymore and just stared at Zhan Bingyu before roaring. The black dragon morphed into black lightning and shot out. It formed a 3-meter-long grinder above Zhan Bingyu. If it wasn't that this cave was too small, it definitely would be bigger. At the same time, there was a buzzing sound in the abstruse immortal's body. Black rays shot from his body. Yemo sneered. He was injured by this before. Before that dark ray could shoot up, he threw out his formation flag. The instant the formation closed, the abstruse immortal cultivator felt it. He wasn't good at formations, but he could tell he was trapped. He finally realized why Zhan Bingyu took this small golden immortal primary stage when she ran. He was an immortal formation master. But he didn't care even though he was trapped. He pushed with his dark rays, but soon he noticed something was wrong. They disappeared in the small cave hole. That huge black dragon magic artifact was also stopped by the formation and didn't do any damage to the abstruse immortal female cultivator. Not only that, the black dragon wouldn't be able to help him for a while. The abstruse immortal immediately realized that Yemo was an immortal formation master who knew very well how to use formations to fight. He had to kill this golden immortal insect first. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to do anything while trapped here. Just when he thought of this, that black dragon rattled and smashed over at Yemo's formation. But as soon as it did, the abstruse immortal immediately noticed a powerful killing force coming his way. He didn't even notice this before. He was very familiar with this killing force. He had fought with Zhan Bingyu more than once. It was another magic artifact that she could control. Each time this woman attacked, he could feel it beforehand. But now, he only sensed it when it was before him. This must be due to this formation. He quickly took back his black dragon to block Zhan Bingyu's blue flute. At this moment, this abstruse immortal didn't care about Zhan Bingyu at all. When the black dragon blocked Zhan Bingyu, he charged over at Yemo like crazy and smashed a rune over. He felt very embarrassed to use a rune against a golden immortal cultivator. But he knew clearly that if he didn't kill this immortal formation master, it would be hard for him to even stay alive, much less win. This small golden immortal primary stage posed a much greater threat to him than this abstruse immortal primary stage female cultivator. Rumble the rune exploded on Yemo's formation, rattling the space nearby. The space of the Chaos Star realm didn't seem as stable as outside. The abstruse immortal cultivator realized that his rune only rattled Yemo's formation a little and did nothing. The golden immortal primary stage wasn't in the blast radius at all. Before he could release his magic artifact, another faint light swept over. It wasn't that woman. It should be the golden immortal. The abstruse immortal released a low-grade immortal artifact and grabbed at the direction the faint light came from. Yemo sneered. A mere abstruse immortal middle stage who was in his formation dared to try and grab him with his hands. He threw out a few more formation flags, and Su struck the abstruse immortal cultivator's shield. Crack! The abstruse immortal didn't expect Yemo's immortal essence was this strong. His shield was hacked away without him using it at full power. A small crack even ran down the middle. "You're not golden immortal primary stage." As soon as he said this, a bloodlight flashed, and Su hacked into his chest. The abstruse immortal was shook. He was heavily injured now and wanted to run without hesitation. From that clash, he could feel that Yi Mo's immortal essence was even a little stronger than abstruse, immortal, primary stage. He was trapped in a formation and faced two abstruse immortals. This was asking to die. As soon as the abstruse immortal turned, countless invisible sword rays shot out of the formation and surrounded him. The abstruse immortal activated the huge black dragon like crazy, wanting to use it to charge out of the cultivation home. However, he wouldn't be able to get out of Yi Mo's trap formation quickly. He knew he shouldn't have come inside. If he wasn't in the formation, he wouldn't fear this immortal formation master. There was a terrifying pressure coming from the black dragon. Yi Mo knew this guy was about to detonate his magic artifact to get out. A magic artifact with an artifact spirit had even more terrifying detonations. How could Yi Mo let him detonate his magic artifact? He circulated his immortal essence and spirit sense like crazy as Zi Su burst out. The purple went from faint to dense in less than half a second and hacked down from the abstruse immortal's head. The abstruse immortal didn't even have time to release his explosion rune and was cut in half by Zi Su. Seeing Yi Mo kill this abstruse immortal middle stage in such a short time with the formation, there was a sliver of shock in Zhan Bingyu's eyes. She knew Yi Mo would win, but didn't expect the win to be this clean. After this abstruse immortal died, his essence spirit seemed to have been devoured by a black shadow. She didn't even see what it was. From this, it was clear that Yi Mo still had trump cards he didn't use. Zhan Bingyu went up to that cultivator and took her black sword. Yi Mo took the formation flags and easily broke the restrictions on the storage ring. However, Yi Mo was greatly disappointed. There were only about 500,000 immortal crystals. An abstruse immortal was this poor? But soon, Yi Mo realized what happened. There were a few bottles of level 3 immortal pills, and quite some level 4 immortal spirit herbs and materials. Seeing Zhan Bingyu look at him, he quickly found her rainbow stamp and threw it back to her. Seeing her take it, Yi Mo was about to leave here. "Wait," I said, "there was something we can collaborate on. Are you willing?" Zhan Bingyu suddenly stopped Yi Mo. "What is it?" Yi Mo asked plainly. Zhan Bingyu said, "I know a place with chaos blue reeds if you're willing." Yi Mo suddenly looked coldly at her. That's exactly what the skeleton that almost killed him said. What did she mean by saying this now? Yi Mo was ready to release Zi Su at any time. If this woman dared to let him go down that pond, he would kill her without hesitation. Feeling Yi Mo's killing intent, Zhan Bingyu took 2 steps back and frowned. She didn't understand why Yi Mo would have killing intent towards her after he said this. So she watched. If Yi Mo dared to attack, she would protect herself. She was thinking that Yi Mo probably wanted to take it all for himself. Thus, Zhan Bingyu didn't want to tell Yi Mo anymore. She couldn't get it herself, but she hadn't even said the location, and Yi Mo wanted it all for himself. This made her very uncomfortable. "Never mind, I don't want to collaborate with you," Zhan Bingyu said and was about to leave here. Yi Mo was confused instead. Did he guess wrong? If he did, then this was a missed opportunity. Where is it? Yi Mo couldn't resist asking. "I thought only I knew about it, but after I went there, I realized that wasn't the case. That abstruse immortal middle stage who tried to kill me was scared of news spreading, so he came to kill me. He had 2 other abstruse immortal primary stage friends who stayed there," Zhan Bingyu answered. "I thought only I knew about it, but after I went there, I realized that wasn't the case. That abstruse immortal middle stage who tried to kill me was scared of news spreading, so he came to kill me. He had 2 other abstruse immortal primary stage friends who stayed there," Zhan Bingyu answered. Hearing this, he immediately asked, "How do you want to cooperate?" "Before that, I have 2 conditions," Zhan Bingyu said upon seeing that Yi Mo's wariness towards her reduced. Yi Mo said plainly, First, the chaos blue reed you mentioned might not exist. Even if it does, we might not get it. Second, you don't need to tell me your conditions. I won't agree to it before seeing the chaos blue reed. Jeanne Bignou realized it was pointless to mention the cultivation method again, so she fell into silence. After a while she could only say, "Then how would we divide things if we get the chaos blue reed?" He knew the chances were slim, but the chaos blue reed was too much of an enticement to Yemo. If he found one, he would definitely not want to give it up. He fell silent for a while and said, "If there's more than one, we can share them evenly, but if there's only one, then there's none for me, right?" Jeanne Bignou sneered, but she was angry. This guy hadn't even got the chaos blue reed and already acted like this. If he got it, then wouldn't he kill her? Yemo was lost for words. If there was only one, he really wouldn't know how to split it. I'm already God state peak stage. I'm about to go through nirvana. I need it more desperately than you. So if you help me with this, I will compensate you elsewhere, Yemo said helplessly. Jeanne Bignou knew Yemo's greed and sighed. If she didn't work with him, there was no way she would get the chaos blue reed, but she felt unsatisfied collaborating with him. I'm also king state middle stage. Plus, everyone wants something like the chaos blue reed. You don't need an entire one for body refinement. If there's only one, give half to me, Jeanne Bignou said without hesitation. Yemo wasn't surprised she reached king state in half a year. She was powerful, and the body refinement places here were really good too. Seeing that Yemo didn't talk, she added, "If there's only one, I want the top part of the chaos blue reed. I can give the bottom half to you. For something like the chaos blue reed, the lower the part, the more valuable." Yemo nodded. "Okay, we'll do that. Now, where is the chaos blue reed?" "It's in the extreme star swamp, 1,000 kilometers west," Jeanne Bignou said. Yemo released Blue Moon and said to Jeanne Bignou, "Get on, let's hurry." Yemo knew this place too. This was the perfect place for him. One couldn't use spirit sense, nor immortal essence here. A body refinement cultivator, like him, had a natural advantage. Jeanne Bignou got on Blue Moon without hesitation. Yemo controlled Blue Moon while expanding his spirit sense domain out. Blue Moon darted across the sky in a blue figure. It was many times faster than running on the ground. Jeanne Bignou's face was still very cold, but she envied Yemo quite a lot. Even though she came from a great eternity immortal sect, she was like a hillbilly compared to Yemo. Other than her more adamant Tao heart, her cultivation method and capabilities were all lower. Just when Jeanne Bignou was thinking, Yemo suddenly hacked out with Zissou. A shriek sounded and blood fell. Yemo grabbed a beast core and 2 feathers. Jeanne Bignou saw a shadowless vulture quickly disappear. Jeanne Bignou was shook looking at this. The other parts of the shadowless vulture were worth some immortal crystals. This guy was too wasteful. For the first time, Jeanne Bignou became curious about Yemo. She would never be interested in any cultivators, but she asked this time, "Are you a cultivator from the cultivation realm?" "Yes." Yemo nodded. "Then someone like you would have quite some Tao partners in the cultivation realm." Jeanne Bignou asked. She really felt it was a pity that someone this talented couldn't focus on cultivation. Yemo nodded awkwardly, thinking this woman was quite accurate. Jeanne Bignou knew it was like this and hesitated before saying, "Your fortune must be astounding. My master said before that Nianmei didn't deserve you. Now I believe it. With your current situation, if you focus completely on cultivation, I believe you can reach the top of Tao." Yemo waved his hand. He didn't want her to remind him. Seeing Yemo lost the interest to talk, Jeanne Bignou said, "I'm just reminding you, whether you listen or not. It's up to you. I just feel pity for that unparalleled heritage of yours." Yemo looked at her plainly and said, "Then I'll remind you too. If you don't undress yourself in front of a man, you might reach the top of Tao. Listen or not, up to you. I just feel pity for such an extremely beautiful woman." Jeanne Bignou smiled and said no more. Although she didn't care about her body, This was the only time she undressed herself in front of a male cultivator. This was because she had never teamed up with someone before. Even though she came with Hai Chuanwu, she still chose to trial alone. She was heavily injured this time, and Yemo was in a worse state. There were people hunting then. She wouldn't care about exposing her body. Yemo was dazed. Ever since he met this woman, this was the first time he saw her smile. Her smile was many times prettier than her cold face. Yemo sighed, thinking that such extremely beautiful woman took her clothes off casually in front of other people, and how her body had been seen by countless people. There was a sense of disgust in Yemo's heart. "You are disgusted by me." Zhen Bingyu scanned and saw the disgust in Yemo's heart. "Haha, we're here." Yemo still needed to collaborate with her. Of course, he couldn't admit it. Looking down, the extreme star swamp was shrouded in what seemed like mist or chaos chi. There were many immortals here, from golden immortal to abstruse immortal. There were constantly more cultivators coming over. In half a day, there would be more than 2,000 here. "This is your private news." Yemo looked at Zhen Bingyu in confusion. A sliver of awkwardness appeared on Zhen Bingyu's face. "When I left, there was not a single person here. Now that so many came, the chaos blue reed must have been exposed." Yemo got off from Blue Moon, and many immortals saw it. They all turned around. There were people flying in here, but it was usually abstruse immortal cultivators with a top-grade defense magic artifact. When they saw it was only a golden immortal primary stage landing, they were shocked. Golden immortal primary stages could fly in here, but then they saw Zhen Bingyu behind him, who was an abstruse immortal. Yemo didn't like Zhen Bingyu seeing that he was golden immortal middle stage, so he hid his power back to golden immortal primary stage, as many of the cultivators here knew he was golden immortal primary stage. I know that golden immortal cultivator. No one wanted to team up with him, but in the end he got to the asteroid door himself. A golden immortal primary stage, past the heaven domain void, are you sure? It's true, I saw it too. He not only crossed it, but also killed more than 10,000 level 2 and level 3 3-feet wolves. Everyone discussed and soon determined Yemo to be a master who could fight beyond his level. Thus, no cultivators dared to scan Yemo with spirit sense. Everyone discussed and soon determined Yemo to be a master who could fight beyond his level. Thus, no cultivators dared to scan Yemo with spirit sense. "Martial Sister Bingyu," a joyful voice sounded. Yemo and Zhen Bingyu looked at Hai Wuchuan at the same time. Seeing Yemo next to Zhen Bingyu, Hai Wuchuan's eyes flashed with discomfort. He didn't expect she rejected to go with him, and instead went with Yemo. But that sliver of discomfort quickly disappeared, and he sped up to them. "Martial Sister Bianju, did you hear there was chaos blue reed here?" Hai Wuchuan asked immediately. Zhen Bingyu nodded. "Yes, how did you know?" "I heard that a golden immortal cultivator got his friend's messenger flying sword and immediately knew his friend was killed due to this. In his fury, he spread this everywhere. I think half of the cultivators here know now. Many more are still coming over," Hai Wuchuan said. "Martial Sister Bingyu, didn't you say you were going to trial alone? Why are you with Pill Master Yi?" Hai Wuchuan felt that Zhen Bingyu wouldn't be interested in Yemo, and she said to him that she didn't want a Dao partner. But these few times he saw her, she was with Yemo. Zhen Bingyu said, "I happened to see Martial Brother Yi here, so we came together." "Pill Master Yi, I didn't expect you could cross the heaven domain void alone. I wanted to greet you at the time, but you left too quickly." Hai Wuchuan realized that Zhen Bingyu changed from calling Yemo Pill Master Yi to Martial Brother Yi, but he still smiled. "So it's Martial Brother Hai." Hai Wuchuan was polite, and Yemo couldn't say much. Seeing Yemo not interested in talking, Hai Wuchuan said to Zhen Bingyu again, "I heard that the Chaos Blue Reed is 1,000 kilometers west of here. These people are going over in teams. There might be conflict if it's found. One can't use spirit sense and immortal essence in the extreme star swamp. Why don't us two find two more abstruse immortal cultivators and go together? Zhan Bingyu said apologetically to Hai Wuchuan, "Sorry, Martial Brother Wu. I'm grouped with Martial Brother Yi." Hai Wuchuan looked at Yi Mo in confusion and then said to Zhan Bingyu, "But Martial Sister Bingyu, Pill Master Yi is only golden immortal power." If Zhan Bingyu's face was getting colder and colder. She didn't like talking about the same thing again and again. Hai Wuchuan clearly knew her character, and seeing her annoyance, he immediately stopped and said again, "Then I'll join your team. Teams are usually 4 to 6 people." Before he finished, he was interrupted by Zhan Bingyu again. "Martial Brother Wu, just Brother Yi and I are fine. You can find someone else to team up with. We'll be going inside first." Yi Mo didn't care about what Hai Wuchuan said. He knew that Zhan Bingyu would definitely not team up with Hai Wuchuan. He noticed that a lot of immortals were making magic artifacts. Just when he didn't know why they were doing so, Zhan Bingyu had gone in already. Seeing this, Yi Mo immediately followed. There were water ditches and weeds everywhere, as well as some small hills. Yi Mo immediately felt the suppression of spirit sense and immortal essence when he came here. This wasn't a complete suppression. An extremely small amount of immortal essence could be used, and spirit sense could only see around 10 meters. One might as well use their eyes, but this little immortal essence was like nothing. They didn't even have Qi gathering level 5 power. One could only use magic artifacts at such a power level. Yi Mo realized why body refinement cultivators here had the advantage. In such places, Golden Immortal could definitely challenge Great Immortals. He also realized why people were making magic artifacts. It was to fly. Despite this, no one really used magic artifact to fly. It was just for backup. There were few shadowless vultures here, but it didn't mean there were none. 1,000 kilometers wasn't far. Despite being suppressed to Qi gathering middle stage, they were still very fast. Plus, it was just suppression. It didn't mean that the rest of their immortal essence was gone. Cultivators could run like this for a few years without tiring at all. Yi Mo wasn't going to run. He released his top-grade flying magic artifact and said to Zhan Bingyu, "Get on." Zhan Bingyu realized now the benefit of cooperating with Yi Mo. Everyone else had to run, but they could fly. Many cultivators saw Yi Mo dared to use his flying magic artifact, and all looked contemptuous. But Yi Mo didn't care. He sped up the flying magic artifact. Yi Mo didn't waste time on the ship. He used the 3-birth chant to see if he could release some of his suppressed immortal essence. Yi Mo was just testing, but what shocked him was that his immortal essence immediately started to be released. Even his spirit sense started to recover slowly. Yi Mo was overwhelmed with shock. The 3-birth chant was too insane. In a place where even immortal emperors couldn't resolve the problem of suppression, he could recover some of his immortal essence. Who would be able to beat him here? What happened to you? Zhan Bingyu's power was suppressed, but it didn't lower her senses. Yi Mo smiled. "I'm still a little injured. I'm going to slow the ship down." "Okay, but watch out for shadowless vultures." Zhan Bingyu nodded. "How about this? Let's stop at a quiet place, and once I recover, we'll go." Yi Mo asked. He didn't want Zhan Bingyu to see that he could recover his power, but he couldn't give this flying magic artifact to Zhan Bingyu. After all, shadowless vultures here wouldn't be suppressed. Zhan Bingyu frowned, but still agreed. Yi Mo clearly said he had pretty much recovered, so why did he need to recover now? Yi Mo changed the direction the ship went and found some brush to sit in. He threw down a few stealth formations and a few defense formations discs. Zhan Bingyu could only watch Yi Mo do this. Seeing that Yi Mo still used stealth formation disc, she felt very contemptuous. Yi Mo immediately used 3-birth chant at full power inside the stealth formation disc. His immortal essence and spirit sense grew rapidly. Soon he was foundation establishment state. 5 minutes later, he was body condensation state power. 15 minutes later, Yimo's power recovered to golden immortal primary stage. Half an hour later, Yimo completely recovered his power. Yimo got out in joy. Can we go now? Zhen Bingyu asked plainly. Of course, I'm fully recovered, let's go. Yimo really wanted to show off and release Blue Moon, but he knew if he did, he would die for sure. Unless he could kill whoever saw him on Blue Moon, the powerful beings of the 11 grand heaven domains might come for him. This time, Yimo released a middle-grade flying magic artifact. Seeing Yimo use a worse one, Zhen Bingyu looked strangely at Yimo, but still said nothing. 15 minutes later, they arrived 1,000 kilometers west of Extreme Star Swamp. After getting off, he saw that this place was filled. Seeing nearly 2,000 cultivators look for the Chaos Blue Reed, Yimo knew the hopes were slim. With this many immortals searching here, even a needle would be found. With this many immortals searching here, even a needle would be found. Yimo didn't scan with his spirit sense. The Chaos Blue Reed wasn't a needle and he wasn't blind. There were so many people here. If someone found the Chaos Blue Reed, it would be very obvious. There was only endless water ditches here and some small hills. At an ordinary place like this, even low-level immortal spirit herbs would be hard to find, much less the Chaos Blue Reed. I think we've been tricked. How can there be a Chaos Blue Reed here? There's no immortal spirit chi here. Everyone think about it. What sort of thing is the Chaos Blue Reed? Can it appear at the outskirts of the Extreme Star Swamp? Some cultivators asked. There's Chaos Blue Reed here. My friend definitely wouldn't lie. If he lied, he wouldn't have been killed. One golden immortal peak stage immediately said. Only now did everyone realize that this person spread the news. If he spread fake news, he wouldn't be coming here himself. Did you remember wrong? We didn't find anything. No, my friend remembered clearly that there was a huge water ditch 1,000 kilometers west of Extreme Star Swamp. See, there's a huge water ditch here. My friend said the Chaos Blue Reed was to the side of or inside the water ditch. Then, almost everyone looked at the huge water ditch. Was the Chaos Blue Reed really in here? Splash someone had already jumped in, wanting to check if it was in there. Seeing the water ripples, Yimo suddenly thought of something. He realized what happened. He had been to deserts and knew there would be mirages there. Was the Chaos Blue Reed that cultivators saw a mirage too? This meant that there was definitely a Chaos Blue Reed, but it wasn't here. There might be some sudden light that reflected the Chaos Blue Reed here. Yimo knew the actual place might be really far from here. Thinking about this, Yimo was planning to leave. Just as that immortal said, there was no way Chaos Blue Reed would be here. The Extreme Star Swamp was boundless, but he had recovered his power. He had some hope of finding it. Yimo said to Zhen Bingyu, since there's no Chaos Blue Reed here, I'm going other places here for a spin. Marshal Sister Bingyu, let's split off here. Good luck, Marshal Sister Bingyu. However, when he turned around, Zhen Bingyu followed him. There's definitely no Chaos Blue Reed here. Why are you still following me? Yimo asked in confusion. Before Zhen Bingyu could reply, a voice sounded. I know what's going on. It's definitely a mirage. That's right, mirage. Yeah. How come I didn't think of it? Some cultivators clapped. Now, most cultivators here realized what was going on. Yimo felt his nose. As soon as he thought of it, someone else did too. Now, Zhen Bingyu probably thought he wanted to do it alone. Indeed, Zhen Bingyu looked coldly at Yimo. You knew this was a mirage, so you wanted to avoid me, right? Yes, indeed. But now that you know, then let's go if you still want to team up with me. Yimo admitted it. Zhen Bingyu said nothing and followed Yimo without hesitation. She knew that in here, Yimo was much more powerful than her. This was the Chaos Blue Reed, so she wasn't going to go alone. Realizing this was a mirage, many immortals started going around searching. Where do we go? Zhan Bingyu looked at Yi Mo and asked, Where there is dense, immortal spirit qi. Yi Mo flew even faster. When he left the crowded place, he changed to a top-grade flying magic artifact and brought the speed to max. 5 days later, Zhan Bingyu finally couldn't resist it anymore and said, We can't keep going in. My power has been suppressed to almost nothing. I can only use my own bodily power. I'm weaker than an ordinary martial artist. There are martial artists in a mortal realm. Yi Mo asked, Did you think the lowest in the immortal realm are all hollow immortal? Zhan Bingyu asked coldly, No, I've seen some disaster transformation state and truth realization states. I just didn't expect there were martial artists. They're not only martial artists, but if they cultivate to the extreme, they're no weaker than status immortals. It's just that we haven't touched their world yet. In here, martial artists are the most suited. Their power wouldn't be suppressed at all. Why do no martial artists come? Because powerful martial artists don't care about it, and low-level martial artists can't make it here. Yi Mo nodded and said slowly, I'm going to search further in. If Martial Sister Bingyu doesn't want to team up with me, I can give you my magic artifact. I have some spirit stones here. You can have them too. This way you can still leave here. You want me to die? Zhan Bingyu's tone grew cold. Yi Mo had killed 3 shadowless vultures on the way here. Telling her to go back was telling her to die. Then stop talking. Since we're a team, you go where I go, Yi Mo said. Zhan Bingyu's face was ice cold, but she couldn't be bothered saying anything to Yi Mo. The two didn't talk, but Yi Mo's flying magic artifact was getting faster and faster. Eventually, he even changed to an extreme grade magic artifact. Zhan Bingyu felt her power was being suppressed more and more, but she said nothing. She was suspicious of Yi Mo theoretically. The further they went, the more they would be suppressed, and the flying magic artifact should be slower, but Yi Mo was getting faster and faster. He even changed his top-grade magic artifact to an extreme-grade magic artifact. Seeing the top-grade spirit stones attached in the extreme-grade flying magic artifact, she realized what was going on. People could forge extreme-grade magic artifacts here, but where would they get top-grade spirit stones? Other than a rare few immortals, most immortals wouldn't prepare spirit stones. The worst they had were low-grade immortal crystals. But in here, spirit stones were useful. 2 days later, Yi Mo suddenly stopped. He looked at the purple in front of him, and fire popped out of his eyes. 6-winged purple radish, Zhan Bingyu called out in shock. She fought with 2 abstruse immortals over 4 before, but now there were 100. She even heard Yi Mo gulp. She looked back at Yi Mo and shook her head. This pill master Yi was too lacking in maturity. The 6-winged purple radish was indeed very valuable, but as an immortal he was about to drool when seeing good things. He didn't have the mannerism of an immortal at all. It was no wonder he couldn't control himself. What do we do with these? Zhan Bingyu asked. 1 to 9. I take 90%, you take 10%, Yi Mo said without hesitation. Yi Mo thought Zhan Bingyu wouldn't agree, but unexpectedly she agreed without hesitation. Okay, I agree. Yi Mo thought Zhan Bingyu wouldn't agree, but unexpectedly she agreed without hesitation. Okay, I agree. Yi Mo was dazed, but he immediately realized Zhan Bingyu couldn't do anything here. Even if he gave her nothing, she could only succumb to fate. Despite realizing this, Yi Mo didn't change his mind. He wasn't going to change his promise. I'll go collect them. Zhan Bingyu was very proactive. She knew she pretty much got these for free while doing nothing. As soon as she took 2 steps forward, Yi Mo pulled her and she fell back. If Yi Mo didn't move back, she would be in Yi Mo's arms. What are you doing? Zhen Bingyu asked coldly. She wasn't afraid of Yi Mo insulting her body, but scared that Yi Mo would take her virginity essence. That way, her cultivation would be greatly compromised. Virginity essence was good for cultivation. Plus, her heritage cultivation method had a strict requirement on this. Yi Mo wasn't going to be interested in such a boring woman. He said coldly, "Can't you see what I'm doing?" Without a need for Yi Mo to say anything, Zhen Bingyu saw that there were 10s of level 2 immortal spirit beasts and 1 level 3 around the immortal spirit herbs. Swamp tiger crocodile, Zhen Bingyu called out in shock. These were immortal spirit beasts in the depths of the swamp. They couldn't fly, but they were extremely fast. Their hide was tough and had immeasurable strength. Their beast essence power wouldn't be limited by the swamp and were much more powerful than ordinary immortal spirit beasts. Even a golden immortal peak stage might not be a match for a level 2 swamp tiger crocodile, much less 10s of level 2 swamp tiger crocodiles and 1 level 3. Even though they couldn't fly, cultivators with flying magic artifacts might not be able to get away from them. They could jump 10 meters high and could join up to form space bindings. Yi Mo knew the value of swamp tiger crocodiles. They didn't have beast cores, but they had beast essence crystals. They were worth much more than beast cores. High-level beast essence cores could be used to concoct some special pills as well as high-level runes. They could even help immortal spirit beast pets break through. The swamp tiger crocodile skin and bones were top-grade forgery materials. These swamp tiger crocodiles had dispersed surrounding them. What do we do? Zhen Bingyu looked worriedly at Yi Mo. She had used her only instant transmission rune. Yi Mo frowned. He wasn't afraid of them, but if he fought, his power would be exposed, and Zhen Bingyu was here. But he really couldn't kill her to keep his secret. The swamp tiger crocodiles roared. They were slow, but they didn't stop, probably because they didn't know the two's power yet. What are you thinking about at this moment? Zhen Bingyu suddenly asked. Yi Mo knew he wasn't going to die, so of course he thought of nothing. But now that she asked, he thought of Su Su, Qing Xue, Jing Gwen, and them. Yi Mo's face also appeared in his mind. I'm thinking if I don't die here today, perhaps I might accomplish Master's wish and become a status immortal one day, Zhen Bingyu murmured, seeing that Yi Mo didn't answer her. Yi Mo sneered. You won't die today, but if you want to become a status immortal, you should wake up. His Tao heart was completely different to Zhen Bingyu. He felt the Tao meant experiencing all facets of life. He definitely didn't believe that someone who thought their body was just flesh and bones would reach the top of Tao. Just when Yi Mo was about to attack, laughter sounded. That speed was countless times faster than his extreme grade flying magic artifact. Good. Good. These swamp tiger crocodiles are trash, but these 106-winged purple radishes are good. My, foam Timos, luck is indeed the best. A gray-robed man appeared. Yi Mo didn't scan him, but from his ferocious chi, Mo knew that this man's cultivation level might be much higher than his. A level 2 swamp tiger crocodile heard this and charged over with a roar. That man didn't care at all and punched. Seeing this punch, Yi Mo's eyes narrowed. He clearly saw that space itself was about to condense under this punch. Thud blood flew, and this level 2 swamp tiger crocodile was punched to a bloody mist by this man. There was no beast essence core, nor bones. Yi Mo took in a cold breath. He knew he definitely wouldn't be able to do this. Immortal, nirvana body immortal, Zhen Bingyu called out in shock. That Feng Timo looked at Zhen Bingyu and suddenly said, Such an exquisite immortal. Good eyes. You can tell that I have an immortal nirvana body. He then scanned Yi Mo and shook his head. What a waste. He doesn't deserve you. You should be my concubine. Zhen Bingyu's face was calm. She didn't seem unhappy at all. Instead, with this man's arrival, she might be saved. Yi Mo's face was calm too, but he was shaken that this man was a mortal nirvana body. He could tell this man was an immortal nirvana body, primary stage. On top of that, this man was at least great immortal level. A great immortal with immortal nirvana body refinement. Even if he was a great unity immortal, he could run away from a great eternity immortal. The swamp tiger crocodiles realized the power of this man, but didn't want to just retreat like that. Seeing this, the man howled and attacked the swamp tiger crocodiles. Thud, thud, blood. Mist sprayed in the air. The ferocious swamp tiger crocodiles turned into nothing under this man's punches. That level 3 swamp tiger crocodile was very smart and ran away. The rest of the swamp tiger crocodiles followed. The man didn't chase, but looked back at Yemo and Zhenbingyu. Yemo was feeling that those beast essence crystals would be worth some money. An abstruse immortal primary stage and a golden immortal primary stage dare to come here, the man said coldly. If Qianbei has no other thing, then we'll go first. Zhenbingyu saw that Yemo didn't talk, so she spoke. She knew that the 6-winged purple radish wouldn't be theirs. The man waved his hand. You're just going to leave like that after I saved your lives? Then what does Qianbei want? Zhenbingyu didn't know why Yemo said nothing. Yemo was thinking what his chances of victory would be if he ambushed this man. You stay. On your account, he can go. The man nodded. You're very good-looking and calm. I like such concubines. Sorry, I won't be your concubine. My Tao heart is firm. No one can stop me from pursuing the great Tao, Zhenbingyu said coldly. You want me to kill you? How can you cultivate without a life? I never force anyone to be my concubine. But I saved you just then. If you don't be my wife, you need to die again. The man sneered. Yemo sneered back. Did I ask you to save me? If I say those swamp tiger crocodiles were my beast essence crystals and you just destroyed them all and I want you to compensate, what are you going to do? Zhenbingyu looked at Yemo with a face full of shock, not understanding why Yemo was aggravating this man. Interesting. Feng Timo laughed, but didn't get angry. Interesting. Feng Timo laughed, but didn't get angry. He studied Yi Mo. A golden immortal dares to come here and dares to say you didn't ask me to save you. You indeed have balls. But you're right, I did come save you on my own accord. Then thank you, Qianbei. Yi Mo saluted with his fists. Since Qianbei doesn't mind, we'll go collect the 6-winged purple radish and leave. Hearing this, Zhenbingyu was even more worried. Yi Mo seemed very cunning. Did he have no awareness of the situation? This Feng Timo was a rather clean person. Since he didn't plan to kill them, they should hurry up and leave. Why did Yi Mo still want the 6-winged purple radish? You still want the 6-winged purple radish? Feng Timo also looked at Yi Mo with disbelief. It was as though he heard the funniest joke in the world. A golden immortal primary stage dared to talk back to him and mention the 6-winged purple radish in front of him. Did he really not fear death? Yi Mo smiled. Look at your words, Qianbei. We found the 6-winged purple radish first. We were planning to harvest them, and you came. Do I have to throw down my own things? What logic is that? You have balls. After a long while, Feng Timo spat out these 3 words. He thought that Yemo saw through what character he was, so he dared to say such words. He wasn't very annoyed. He was proud of himself for being a clean character. Now that it was approved by Yemo, how could he not continue to feel good about himself? If it was some ordinary immortal spirit herb, he might really give it up, but he really didn't want to give up the 6-winged purple radish. Little did he know that Yemo didn't see through his character, but that he wasn't afraid of him. Yemo had calculated that even if this was an immortal spirit body, great unity immortal, he didn't fear a fight here. Zhenbingyu sighed. She was prepared to help Yemo if Yemo wanted to fight Feng Timo. They were still in a team, and she didn't want to go against her promise. But with her current ability, There was no difference whether she helped or not. Just when Feng Timo looked at the flying sword, there was joy on his face. He turned to leave, but after he walked a few meters, he turned back and said, "You both owe me a life. This small golden immortal can use 6-winged purple radish to pay me back. As for this goddess, you can be my concubine. Otherwise, you can only give that life back to me." Before Zhan Bingyu could react, Yemo said plainly, "Qianbei, you're wrong. You owe me 10 tiger crocodiles. I don't feel I owe you anything." Feng Timo, who was a few hundred meters away, almost fell over hearing this, but he didn't stop. He sped off faster. Seeing Feng Timo leave, Zhan Bingyu took a long sigh of relief. She even felt she was sweating cold. She then looked coldly at Yemo. "Did you know you almost made me die with you?" "At most I would die. He would still want you to be his concubine. He probably wouldn't kill you," Yemo said, and then he went to harvest the 6-winged purple radish. "Be his concubine? I'm not that low. My life pursuit is the great Tao, not anything else," Zhan Bingyu added coldly. Then she looked at Yemo and said, "You don't seem dumb. Why are you seeking death? If we stay in a team, I don't want you to be like this next time." "Sorry, if Feng Timo comes back, I would still do the same thing. If you don't want to team up with me, then go where you please." Yemo collected the 6-winged purple radish. Zhan Bingyu shook his head and said no more. She really didn't understand why Qin Yanmei and Feng Chuanma would like such a person. She didn't even consider that Hai Wuchuan who followed her everywhere and sucked up to her. But compared to this Yemo, he was 10 times better. But today that Feng Timo is a rather good person. Next time I see him, I will help him. Yemo praised Feng Timo, but if they really fought, he would kill this person. Zhan Bingyu shook her head speechlessly. Feng Timo was not only great immortal, but also immortal nirvana body. Who would be helping who? Yet a golden immortal dared to say he would help a great immortal. "Wait." Yemo suddenly thought something and said, "What's wrong?" Zhan Bingyu asked. Yemo said calmly that Feng Timo could have taken the 6-winged purple radishes. But why didn't he? Why did he leave in such a hurry? Why did he tell me to use 6-winged purple radishes to pay him back? Feng Timo is great immortal power. Why is he here? Yemo asked. Zhan Bingyu was very smart, and now that Yemo asked, she immediately realized. "You're saying he came for the Chaos Blue Reed?" "If I'm not wrong, he probably is. What else would be more precious than 106-winged purple radishes in here?" Yemo asked. "You're saying that the messenger flying sword he got was about the Chaos Blue Reed?" Zhan Bingyu immediately asked. Yemo released his extreme grade flying magic artifact and said, "Get on quickly, let's go look." Zhan Bingyu got up but asked worriedly, "It's not too good for us to go like that, right?" "We can't beat that Feng Timo," Yemo said coldly. "If you don't want to go, I'll give you this flying magic artifact and I'll go alone." Zhan Bingyu put on a cold face and ignored Yemo. She had no choice but to follow Yemo. She had quite a high possibility of dying here if she left alone. Before the ship could fly very far, a black figure charged over. There were a few more figures behind them. Swamp tiger crocodile! Zhan Bingyu didn't expect them to be this cunning. As soon as that immortal nirvana body immortal left, they came back for revenge. Before Zhan Bingyu could feel despair, Yemo released Zisu. Illusion Cloud Domain Kill Strike. The purple sword ray swiped across the dull sky with a faint purple ray. Blood splashed, and those few crocodiles were killed. How I did it is my business. Yemo frowned at Zhan Bingyu. How I did it is my business. Yemo frowned at Zhan Bingyu. Zhan Bingyu seemed to know what Yemo wanted to say next, and said, "Don't worry about me spilling it. I know your heritage isn't ordinary. If I would spill it, I wouldn't remind you to be careful about your body refinement cultivation method. Yi Emo nodded. He believed Zhen Bingyu, but even so he had decided to leave Fengji heaven immediately and never return to Gonghua heaven. The flying ship flew for about 6 minutes before Yi Emo suddenly stopped. His spirit sense scanned Feng Timo, but there wasn't just him. There were at least 3 cultivators with him. They all didn't seem to have their power suppressed. There was a small lake in front of them, but there was an extremely tall mountain in the middle. The mountain was shrouded in mist. But when Yi Mo's spirit sense saw clearly, he was struck with a fit of excitement. He almost charged up, as not far from the top of the peak, there was a rock that bulged out. Below it was a blue immortal spirit herb. It was the chaos blue reed. Luckily he controlled himself. There were 4 people over there, including Feng Timo. Yi Emo knew that his power wouldn't be weaker than his despite being suppressed. Those 3 could have a standoff against Feng Timo. Clearly they weren't ordinary. Plus, Feng Timo was definitely called over by one of them. That meant that if he charged up, he would need to face against 2 Feng Timos or the gang of the 4 of them. No matter how powerful Yi Emo was, he didn't dare to do this. Yi Emo changed the direction of the flying ship, and 10 minutes later, Yi Emo found a small hill full of weeds and landed there. Seeing Yi Emo land the ship at such a corner again, she frowned and asked, "Why did you stop here?" "Don't worry, I'm not interested in your body. If you want to go, then please do." Yi Emo said this again. Zhan Bingyu shook her head speechlessly. This was all Yi Emo could say. She watched Yi Emo silently as he set up a trap and stealth formation. "How long are you going to stay in the Chaos Star Realm?" Yi Emo suddenly asked. He wanted her to go immediately, but he was also afraid she would leave before him. Zhan Bingyu looked coldly at him and said, "At least until I reach abstruse immortal peak stage. It might be a few hundred or 1,000 years. You don't need to worry about me going out first and exposing the secret on you. Plus, I don't know what secret you have. I just know you have a powerful heritage." Yi Emo didn't mind her seeing through what he thought. He had to ask clearly about this, or he wouldn't mind planting some restrictions on her. "How long will you stay?" Strangely, Zhan Bingyu asked him the same question back. In Yi Mo's impression, she only cared about her cultivation. She never asked him about private things. Yi Mo fell silent for a moment and said, "Perhaps I will go out after reaching abstruse immortal." "With your progress, you should be faster than me." Zhan Bingyu's face eased up. She paused and said, "There are 9 levels of the Chaos Star Realm. We're only at the 1st level. The further you go, the harder it is. Rarely can cultivators reach the 9th level. Not even great immortals can. It's not that the further you go, the better the resources and ease of cultivation. The 1st level has a lot of resources and cultivation grounds. However, the further you go, the cultivation resources doesn't increase much, but the difficulty dramatically increases." Yi Emo nodded. "I heard there's another saying. There are 36 levels of the Chaos Star Realm. Which one is correct?" Zhan Bingyu shook her head and replied, "I don't know which one is correct. My master told me there are entrances to here in the middle and grand heaven domains. Even an immortal emperor wouldn't be able to figure out if the level 1 we go to at the lower heaven domain would be the same as the middle heaven domain. The Chaos Star Realm is too big. Even for the 1st level, no one has been able to reach the end." Yi Mo's spirit sense noticed that Feng Timo fought with one of the people. He was a body refinement immortal, but the other person seemed to be able to release magic artifacts. The other 2 cultivators seemed to be in a standoff and were about to fight. Yi Emo felt assured that the 4 didn't take away the chaos blue reed because they weren't on the same grounds. "These are yours." Yi Emo took out 10 6-winged purple radishes and gave them to Zhan Bingyu. He promised these to her. It felt uncomfortable keeping them on him. "Thank you." Zhan Bingyu took them and said, "After we leave the Extreme Star Swamp, I still want to team up with you for trial. Is that okay?" She had some understanding of Yemo. She knew that Yemo valued cultivation resources greatly and may intervene in ones that didn't belong to him. However, he was very trustworthy and wouldn't turn on people in danger. She thought about this for a while. If she teamed up with Yemo, she didn't have to worry about backstabbing. Plus, the two pursued the same thing, and that was body refinement. She felt she would be able to get more benefits teaming up with Yemo. The 6-winged purple radishes were a good example. Yemo gave her 10 casually without hesitation. If it was some selfish cultivator, she might have been killed already. No, Yemo rejected without hesitation. Zhan Bingyu was useless to him, and he had too many secrets. He hadn't exposed them yet, but Zhan Bingyu knew his heritage was substantial. Plus, she came from a great eternity immortal sect and had a great eternity immortal master. Yemo didn't want to have contact with such a person, at least not now. Plus, Zhan Bingyu's Dao heart made him feel uncomfortable. I can take you from the 1st level to the 4th level. I know a lot of places here, which places are for body refinement, which places are for spirit sense, which places are for immortal essence, and where there will be immortal spirit herbs. I know most of them. Plus, I know there's an immortal spirit herb mountain at the 4th level. It's very hidden. My master went there once, tens of thousands of years ago. After all these years, there will definitely be many more immortal spirit herbs there. Zhan Bingyu knew what Yemo thought. What level? Yemo immediately asked. He lacked level 5 and level 6 immortal spirit herbs the most right now. Zhan Bingyu immediately said, from level 1 to level 6, there are more level 4 to level 6. But I must say this first, ordinary people can't find it at all. My master told me so I can collect some immortal spirit herbs back. You can only take a small part. Then how much is that? Yemo didn't know how big the mountain was and how much was a small part. Zhan Bingyu was lost for words. I don't know, I think at least a few hundred. Yemo fell in silence and said, let me think about it. Then he got up and said to her, stay here and wait for me. I'm going to leave for a while. This formation is a level 2 immortal formation. If you don't go out, there won't be any danger. Zhan Bingyu was certain that Yemo was going to find the chaos blue reed and immediately nodded. Okay, I'll definitely wait for you here. Yemo believed in his stealth cultivation method, but against a great immortal like Feng Timo, he didn't dare to be careless. The difference between a great immortal and heaven immortal wasn't anything like the difference between golden immortal and abstruse immortal. Yemo believed in his stealth cultivation method, but against a great immortal like Feng Timo, he didn't dare to be careless. The difference between a great immortal and heaven immortal wasn't anything like the difference between golden immortal and abstruse immortal. 6 minutes later, Yemo crept near the 4. He chose to come at this time because the 4 had started fighting. Now was the safest time. Zhong being, keeping on fighting like this won't resolve anything. That chaos blue reed isn't something that one person can take down alone. So what if you and Feng Timo win? Plus, you two can't kill both me and Tan Tong. I think we should discuss how we can divide it, one fat man said. The fat man fought a ferocious-looking gray-robed man. Hearing this, he said to Feng Timo immediately, Timo, this Han Wei-Chen is right. We should discuss things and see if we can cooperate better. Cooperate my ass. This fat pig wants us brothers to take charge, and when we divide things, we get the least. He's dreaming. Feng Timo rejected without hesitation and attacked even more ferociously. Yemo saw that Feng Timo and Zhong Bing were both body refinement cultivators, both reaching immortal nirvana body. Meanwhile, Han Wei-Chen and Tan Tong seemed to have used a secret technique to be able to use part of their power here. But one thing was certain. These 4 were all great immortal power. Humph, Timo, how do you know things won't work if we don't discuss? Plus, even if you two win, do you think you 2 body refinement cultivators can get to the top? Do you dare to go from the bottom of the lake? Tan Tong sneered. His face was very white. If we can't go up, can you guys go up? Feng Timo rebutted. Yemo just realized now that it wasn't so easy to get up this peak. While the four were having fun fighting, Yemo quietly got near the other side of the lake. Yemo worried too much. These four were busy fighting. But even if they weren't, their power was suppressed, and it was very hard to find him. Yemo didn't dare to release flying his magic artifact. The ripples in space brought by the flying magic artifact would be caught by these four. The lake water seemed very cold, but when Yemo stepped foot on it, this terrifying temperature almost instantly melted his shoe. This temperature was countless times higher than the void flame. If he wasn't God's state body refinement, he might be heavily injured already. Thinking about that cold pond before, Yemo suddenly shivered. That pond looked normal, but it was freezing cold inside, and he found the skeleton of an ancient being there. There were 4 6-winged purple radishes outside that one. Here, the water was extremely hot, and there was a chaos blue reed. Would the two be connected? He thought about when he was running. That skeleton told him he knew where the chaos blue reed was. Was that skeleton talking about here? Did that skeleton not want to possess him, but make him get the chaos blue reed for him, so he could rebuild his body? Thinking about this, Yemo shivered. He really wanted to dash up into the sky. This searing lake felt like a monster's mouth to him, but Yemo resisted that urge. He just sped up a little. If he flew up now, it would be signaling to those for that someone else was here. Luckily, Yemo wasn't swept in by the lake water. Yemo landed on the peak while the four were still fighting like crazy. It seemed that they were evenly matched. Yemo just wanted to speed up to the mountaintop, but an invisible sword ray hacked over. The higher he went, the more dense these sword rays were. On top of that, the higher he went, the greater the pressure. It was as though the pressure wanted to push him into the lake water. Yemo cursed. He couldn't release his octagonal cauldron, nor Su to block them. He could only let the sword rays tear his body. Even though he was God's state body refinement, he was covered in wounds when he was only halfway up. Even so, Yemo didn't dare to expose himself and gritted his teeth, bearing the cuts on his body as he carefully climbed up. 6 minutes later, Yemo came before the chaos blue reed bloodied, but he noticed the four had stopped fighting. Yemo carefully ate a few pills, but he didn't dig out the chaos blue reed. He hid on the side waiting. The four seemed to have started discussing. Yemo hoped the four wouldn't come to an agreement. Otherwise, even though he was next to the chaos blue reed, he wouldn't be able to take it away. Luckily, after a while, the four started fighting again. Yemo breathed easy. Yemo took away the chaos blue reed extremely quickly and went through the sword mountain before coming down to the lake. Yemo wasn't scared of the sword mountain. He was scared of this lake. He felt there was some connection to the really cold pond. Yemo darted next to the lake and carefully crept away a few kilometers before quickly releasing Blue Moon and disappearing instantly. Not good. The chaos blue reed is gone. That pale-faced Tan Tong was the first to notice. It was clearly there when they stopped fighting, but in a short while it was gone. Clearly someone had stole it. With it gone, the four no longer had the mood to fight. What is going on? Feng Timo frowned and asked. The chaos blue reed was very important to body refinement cultivators. It wasn't just used for nirvana. It could also allow him to reach immortal god body. There were definitely 2 people who stole the chaos blue reed. One person can't get it unless his spirit sense and immortal essence are both intact, and he is also a body refinement cultivator. It hasn't been more than 15 minutes since the chaos blue reed disappeared. The 2 didn't get far, the fat cultivator said. Search. Feng Timo said coldly. It was the first time he was so furious. Someone dared to steal the chaos blue reed in front of him. If he knew who this person was, he would eat him bite by bite. No matter how smart the fat man was, He wouldn't know that EMO could release blue moon in here and was tens of thousands of kilometers away. Zhan Bingyu was in the stealth formation, but she didn't have the mood to cultivate. She was thinking about where Yi Mo got his heritage from. She didn't feel it was strange that Yi Mo became duo cultivation partners with Qin Yanmei. If the heart was connected, duo cultivation could indeed improve one's power, but using this method made it hard to achieve Vindicate Dao. Since Yi Mo had such good heritage and a Dao partner, he shouldn't be immersed in something as meaningless as lust. Other than some rare cultivation methods and some demon cultivators, rarely did immortals immerse themselves in lust. She was certain that Yi Mo's cultivation method wasn't that type of cultivation method, but she saw Yi Mo and Feng Chunma come out the room that day, and Feng Chunma's clothes were messy. Her face seemed excited too. Yet, Yi Mo was heartless to Feng Chunma afterwards, leaving without even saying goodbye. She knew that Yi Mo didn't truly like Feng Chunma. In that case, why did Feng Chunma still want to send him off? She knew Feng Chunma. She seemed really goofy, but her character was strong. She would definitely not chase up on a man after being played. The only possibility was that there was some sort of deal between them. Feng Chunma used her virginity essence to trade something with Yi Mo. Suddenly, Yi Mo charged in, covered in blood. Before Zhan Bingyu could say anything, he quickly put away the formation flags and said, "Get on the flying magic artifact. Leave now." Suddenly, Yi Mo charged in, covered in blood. Before Zhan Bingyu could say anything, he quickly put away the formation flags and said, "Get on the flying magic artifact. Leave now." Zhan Bingyu knew things weren't right, and she got on Blue Moon without hesitation. Blue Moon quickly disappeared in a blue ray. "What happened? Did you fight with that Feng Timo?" Zhan Bingyu asked. "No, but if we don't leave quickly, then we'll really be fighting when they chase up. You control Blue Moon. We'll go to Chaos Star Realm's second level immediately," Yi Mo said, quickly. They had spent a few days coming in, but now Yi Mo put Blue Moon on max speed, and they left the Extreme Star Swamp in half an hour. There were no cultivators at the outskirts now. These cultivators had all left. Okay. Zhan Bingyu was smart and knew that since Yi Mo let her lead the way, it meant Yi Mo agreed to team up with her. She took control of Blue Moon. Half a month later, Blue Moon was still speeding rapidly. Yi Mo killed quite a few shadowless vultures, but Zhan Bingyu said they still weren't at the second floor. Yi Mo finally couldn't resist and asked, "How far is it from level 2? 2 more months of flying," Zhan Bingyu answered. Yi Mo thought with Blue Moon's speed they would arrive in a few days, but now they still had so long to go. Yi Mo looked at her speechlessly. "Why didn't you say so earlier?" Yi Mo's wounds had recovered, but he needed to change his clothes. Plus, he needed to organize the 6-winged purple radishes he found. More importantly, Yi Mo felt Blue Moon was too slow. He wanted to use the shadowless vulture's main feather to upgrade it once. He was planning to do this at level 2, but now that it was so far away, he could only do it now. "Since it's cooperation, of course I'm going to listen to you." "You didn't ask me. I thought you only wanted me to lead the way," Zhan Bingyu said. Yi Mo was dazed. He didn't agree to the cooperation. He just said he would think about it. He was planning for her to take him to level 2 and give part of the Chaos Blue Reed to her before separating. Yi Mo really wanted to go to that immortal herb mountain. But Yi Mo realized that even if he didn't go, he would be able to find a bunch of level 5 immortal spirit herbs here. He realized what Zhan Bingyu meant. He didn't say anything, so she purposely took it as accepting the cooperation. Yi Mo thought about it. Cooperation was fine. He was only going to be cultivating and collecting immortal spirit herbs. When he cultivated, he would set up a formation. Zhan Bingyu wouldn't be able to see through it. Plus, Zhan Bingyu had some secrets. He didn't feel secure letting her leave. "Find a place to rest first. Then we'll go to level 2. Yi Mo nodded. Zhan Bingyu spoke very coldly, but she was very nervous inside. She was afraid Yi Mo would reject her on the spot. If Yi Mo rejected, it would really be hard for her to bring this up again. If she used her flying magic artifact, it wouldn't take 2 months. But she didn't remind Yi Mo. She wanted to waste more time. That way it would be harder for Yi Mo to reject. Now that Yi Mo said this, clearly it meant he agreed. Half an hour later, Zhan Bingyu found a seclusive valley and flew Blue Moon inside to the depths. This place is good. We'll open up a cultivation home here. Yi Mo pointed at a small mountain in the valley. It was very simple for them. In 15 minutes, the simple cultivation home was set up. 2 rooms were opened up in the cultivation home. Yi Mo set up a defense formation and immediately took out the Chaos Blue Reed. Chaos Blue Reed, you really got it! Zhan Bingyu's tone was shaky. Yi Mo really got such rare treasure. Yi Mo felt unsatisfied to give her half, but he didn't say much. We'll split it now, Yi Mo said. Zhan Bingyu shook her head. I only need 1 small branch. I didn't do anything to get this. I just told you the news. If it wasn't that this is too important for me, I wouldn't even take a small branch. Yi Mo looked at Zhan Bingyu in confusion. Since when did this woman become like this? But Yi Mo wasn't going to be polite with her, since she asked to have less. Zhan Bingyu said, You don't need to give it to me now. The Chaos Blue Reed is different than other things. It's best to use it when you go through nirvana. Cut off a small branch for me when I nirvana. Yi Mo heard this and thought that if she could only use a small branch, could he as well? That way the Chaos Blue Reed could stay in his golden page world. It seems I only need a small branch too, and the Chaos Blue Reed can be grown. Yi Mo nodded. Zhan Bingyu shook her head. That would work to break through. But if you want to reach higher levels of body refinement, I suggest you use the whole thing, then. Zhan Bingyu sighed. If she didn't need to achieve nirvana, she really didn't want to take Yi Mo's small branch. Using the entire Chaos Blue Reed for nirvana was the best. But Zhan Bingyu knew that even if she didn't take the small branch, Yi Mo wouldn't be able to reach that final step. If body refinement could reach divine body, then there wouldn't be only one person to get to that step in the entire history of the immortal realm. Even for the immortal god body, there were only a few people in the entire immortal realm, and some people couldn't even reach the peak. Zhan Bingyu's Tao heart was firm. She didn't do anything to get such rare treasure, and she already felt uncomfortable. She couldn't convince herself to take half. Okay then. Yi Mo nodded and went into his stone room. Yi Mo was scared that she would charge in again, so he not only set up stealth and barrier formations, but also a defense formation. Then Yi Mo went into the golden page world and cleansed himself once before changing into a new set of clothes. The first thing Yi Mo did was transplant the 6 winged radishes and his Chaos Blue Reed into his immortal spirit herb garden. There were more and more good things in the golden page world. Yi Mo satisfied himself by looking at it before taking out Blue Moon and 10 pairs of mane feathers from the shadowless vulture. He killed 18 on the way, but he only took out 10 because Zhan Bingyu said the shadowless vultures at the 2nd level were much better and faster. Half a month later, Yi Mo used up all his forgery materials and successfully changed Blue Moon into a level 3 flying immortal artifact. The main feathers could be used to forge the lowest level middle grade flying immortal artifact, but Yi Mo's immortal forgery skills were too low and could only bring it to a level 3 low grade immortal artifact. Yi Mo spent another half a month using the corner soul weeds to improve his spirit sense before leaving the stone room. You didn't cultivate? Yi Mo saw Zhan Bingyu sitting outside the stone room and asked in confusion. No. If we can go, let's go find a body refinement place at level 2. You have the Chaos Blue Reed now, so you can go choose a place for nirvana. I need to reach God state too. Zhan Bingyu still had a cold face and tone. Okay. Yi Mo nodded. Since cultivation level was too hard to improve, then he could only reach nirvana body, refinement to improve his power. If he was an immortal nirvana body now, he could fight abstruse immortal middle stages head-on. Use your flying magic artifact. It's faster, Yemo said. Use your flying magic artifact. It's faster, Yemo said. Zhan Bingyu didn't reject and nodded, releasing a rainbow stamp. Your flying and defense magic artifact are the same? Yemo asked. That's right. Zhan Bingyu nodded and said, My master used to use this. Now she gave it to me. Rainbow Stamp was just a level 4 flying immortal artifact, but it was still a middle grade flying immortal artifact. However, Yemo found that it was only a little faster than the upgraded Blue Moon. 1.5 months later, they arrived at the entrance to level 2. What shook Yemo was that there was a small marketplace here. There were tens of thousands of cultivators coming to and fro. Looking at the heavenly priced pills and magic artifact, Yemo's fire lit up. He looked apologetically at Zhen Bingyu. Marshal Sister Bingyu, sorry. I need to set up a stall for pill concoction here. If you can't wait, you can go to level 2 first. I'm not in a rush, Zhen Bingyu replied plainly, clearly planning to follow Yemo no matter what. Yemo didn't know what she thought, and even suspected she still was interested in his cultivation method. But he was wary, so thinking about this, Yemo nodded. In that case, help me then. Seeing Yemo and Zhan Bingyu come on a flying magic artifact here, many immortals moved over. Those who could fly in the sky weren't ordinary people. Shadowless vultures weren't something the simple defense formations on flying magic artifacts could stop. They could easily pierce level 1 defense immortal formations, and high-level shadowless vultures could penetrate level 2 and level 3 defense immortal formations. Most of the flying immortal artifacts were low-grade flying immortal artifacts and had at most level 9 spirit formations. Even middle-grade flying immortal artifacts wouldn't have a defense formation higher than a level 2 immortal formation. This was why good flying immortal artifacts were so scarce. Even the best immortal forgery master couldn't allow his forgery skills and formation skills to improve at the same time. Yemo wanted to set up a stall to collect level 5 and level 6 immortal spirit herbs. He needed immortal spirit herbs for his trial. Yemo released his extreme grade cultivation artifact mansion and set up a sign saying, Pill concoction can concoct level 3 and below immortal pills. The quality is definitely top-notch. Price is as below. 1 level 4 immortal spirit herb for 1 cauldron of immortal pills, 1 level 5 immortal spirit herb for 2 cauldrons of pills, level 6 immortal spirit herb price up to negotiation. Will be concocting myself. Don't accept immortal crystals. Prepare immortal spirit herb yourselves. Even in the immortal city, where immortal pill masters were very lacking, 1 level 4 immortal spirit herb was enough for more than 1 cauldron of pills level 3 and below. The price Yemo set was very expensive, but even so, this still caught everyone's attention. In the boundless Chaos Star realm, level 4, level 5, and even level 6 herbs could often be found, but pills wouldn't appear out of nowhere. The immortals in level 1 were mostly below great immortals. Level 3 and below pills were very important for them. Instead of putting level 4 immortal spirit herbs in their storage ring for nothing, they might as well use them for pill concoction. Plus, this simple marketplace was set up by passing immortals. The stall owners changed frequently as they were all here for Trial 2. Level 3 immortal pill masters were very hard to encounter, and there were none here. Even if a powerful immortal pill master came occasionally, he could at most concoct level 2 immortal pills. You can really concoct level 3 immortal pills. One abstruse immortal primary stage came over and looked at Zhan Bingyu before asking carefully. The sign is very clear. You can concoct the abstruse essence pill. Of course. Yemo's answer was concise but more convincing. If he could barely concoct level 3 immortal pills, he would use a large amount of words to persuade the customer. But Yi Mo valued each word he said. Okay, I believe you. You're probably a level 3 immortal pill master. You want to collect level 4 immortal spirit herbs to prepare to reach level 4 immortal pill great master, right? The abstruse immortal primary stage asked. Yi Mo smiled. Good eyes, friend. Zhan Bingyu shook her head, speechlessly. Anyone would be able to tell this. She really didn't know that Yi Mo didn't even want to take level 4 immortal spirit herbs. But if he didn't, it would expose that he was a level 4 immortal pill master. Only an idiot would do such a thing. A level 3 immortal pill master was precious, but not many people would take notice. So many more people would take note of a level 4 immortal pill great master. I have a level 5 two-leaf poppy. I want to ask you to concoct 2 cauldrons of abstruse essence pills, the abstruse immortal said, and took out 2 sets of materials for the abstruse essence pill, but didn't take out the 2-leaf poppy. Yi Mo knew this guy would give it once he saw the pills, but he didn't mind. He took the ingredients and went inside the mansion. In just over 5 minutes, Yi Mo came out and took out 2 jade bottles. The pills are done, have a look. If it's right, then give the 2-leaf poppy to me. The abstruse immortal looked at Yi Mo in confusion. He was done with 2 cauldrons of abstruse essence. Pills this quickly? Even an immortal pill great master had at most this speed. Zhan Bingyu looked at Yi Mo in confusion. She had seen Yi Mo concoct this pill in the match with Gong Sun Jiu, but he took half an hour. How did he become so fast? They are all top-grade immortal pills. The abstruse immortal opened the jade bottle and called out in shock. He gave the 2-leaf poppy to Yi Mo without hesitation. Good capabilities, friend. You can concoct top-grade immortal pills in such a short time. You're too good. Those immortals waiting for results on the side all took out their immortal spirit herbs, asking Yi Mo for pill concoction. Yi Mo rejoiced this method always worked. Last time at the Blackweed Forest, he got large sums of immortal spirit herbs and reached level 3 immortal pill master and then level 4 immortal pill great master. If he stayed here for a few days, it wouldn't be hard for him to reach level 5 immortal pill great master. Zhan Bingyu completely understood now. Her master's guess was right. Yi Mo definitely wasn't a level 3 immortal pill master. He was indeed an immortal pill great master. It was no coincidence that he beat Gong Sun Jiu with 1 middle grade immortal pill. It was completely intentional. Seeing that Yi Mo was too busy, Zhan Bingyu came up to help Yi Mo collect immortal spirit herbs, while thinking how she could ask Yi Mo to concoct great unity pills for her. And her 11 6-winged purple radishes needed to be turned into pills as well. Thinking about this, Zhan Bingyu felt her decision to team up with Yi Mo was very correct. 2 days later, Yi Mo's pill concoction business was getting better and better. Yi Mo's speed was getting faster and faster, but he didn't dare to overdo it. He didn't dare to concoct a single special grade pill. Otherwise, it would mean that he was a pill concoction great master. I haven't seen such a powerful immortal pill master for so many times. I've been here for a few decades. A few years ago, this Yen level 3 immortal pill master had such a level. But I feel this immortal pill master is much better than that Yen. I know that pill master too, he went to level 2. He's indeed very good. But his pill concoction isn't as fast as this immortal pill master, and his quality isn't as good either. Yi Mo heard these people discussing when he just came out. He had concocted pills for 7 days here, collecting quite some level 4 and level 5 immortal spirit herbs. He didn't collect any level 6 immortal spirit herbs. But Yi Mo was certain these level 5 immortal spirit herbs were enough for him to reach level 5 immortal pill great master. Then he would be able to concoct snowwing pills. What's the full name of that Yen pill master? Yi Mo suddenly asked. The 2 people on the side quickly said he seemed to be called Yen Tantao, but he only concocted pills for a few days and went to level 2. It was him indeed. Yi Mo nodded and saluted with his fists. Everyone, I will be going to level 2. The pill concoction ends now. It was him indeed. Yi Mo nodded and saluted with his fists. Everyone, I will be going to level 2. The pill concoction ends now. Reluctant voices sounded around. Yi Mo's pill concoction quality was top-notch. Despite knowing he would eventually leave, people still felt reluctant. Marshall's sister Bingyu, why are you here? Are you here to undergo trial too? A crisp voice sounded, and a pretty woman walked over. There was a man next to her who was abstruse, immortal, primary stage. That woman was only golden immortal peak stage. Yes, Marshall's sister Shangwan should be here for the same too, right? Zhen Bingyu nodded. She didn't show surprise and joy, but the coldness on her face melted a little. Yes, I really didn't expect to be able to see Marshall's sister Bingyu here. You're already abstruse immortal now, and I'm still golden immortal peak stage. Sigh, Shangwan said dejectedly, but soon the dejection was gone, and she said happily, Marshall's sister Bingyu, it's so good to see you. We can trial together. By the way, let me introduce you. This is my Marshall brother Liao Nancheng. Marshall brother, this is Marshall's sister Bingyu I often talk about. She's from Gong Hua Heaven's Great Eternity Immortal Sect, Extreme Sword Sect. He is, Shangwan just wanted to ask who Emo was, and saw the sign that Emo hadn't put away yet, and asked, This Marshall brother is an immortal pill master? She called Emo Marshall brother, completely due to Zhen Bingyu. Yemo's power was lower than hers, and Zhen Bingyu never stayed with male cultivators. Now that she did, there must be something going on. Yes, he's Emo, a solo cultivator, and also a level 3 immortal pill master. Zhen Bingyu nodded. Great, if we trial together we can ask Marshall brother Yi to help with pill concoction. Shangwan clearly didn't have many calculations and said things straightforwardly. I've long heard of Goddess Bingyu's fame. Now that I see you, it's indeed true, Liao Nancheng greeted her. Zhen Bingyu was cold, but she didn't ignore people. She greeted back. But Zhen Bingyu didn't introduce Shangwan to Emo. Emo didn't ask as well. It had nothing to do with him. Marshall's sister Bingyu, let's go to level 2 together. I will get to abstruse immortal before coming out, Shangwan repeated. Hearing this, Emo immediately knew she was simple-minded. She will reach abstruse immortal? Didn't that mean she had the level 3 immortal pill abstruse will pill? If she went out alone, just with what she said, there would be many golden immortals waiting for her at level 2. Abstruse will pill was a pill that could allow golden immortal peak stages to reach abstruse immortal. It was one of the most sought after pills by golden immortals. Before Zhen Bingyu could reject, Shangwan came up to Emo and said, Marshall brother Yi, I'm Shangwan. I come from Yu Hung Heaven. Hearing this, Emo was shook. He was very sensitive to Yu Hung Heaven. Emo immediately smiled. I come from Gong Hua Heaven, but I'm just a solo cultivator. My sect is the Great Extreme Immortal Sect, Cloud River Sect. If you and Marshall's sister Bingyu go to Yu Hung Heaven, you must come. I heard that Yu Hung Heaven is very big, and at the Heaven Lord there is a status immortal. No, who did you hear that from? He's still Great Eternity Immortal Peak Stage, but it probably won't be long for Heaven Lord Lu to reach status immortal. He's inviting all the immortals in the heaven domains who are good at fortune-telling. It said he wants to calculate the fortune of Yu Hung Heaven. Hearing this, Emo was shook. Calculate? This guy definitely wanted to find him. Thinking about this, he quickly asked, What are the results? They're just starting now. It said that this calculation will take decades, or even centuries, Shangwan said. Zhen Bingyu and Liao Nancheng didn't expect Emo and Shangwan would talk so much after meeting for the first time. Zhen Bingyu immediately reacted. Emo had this passion. He seemed to like pretty immortal girls. Didn't he do this at the Extreme Sword Sect? No wonder Feng Chuanma was so reluctant to let him go. Just look at the gentle way he spoke to Shangwan. Liao Nancheng frowned and looked displeased. He wanted to talk some more to Zhen Bingyu, but she didn't have the mood to do that, and instead looked at Yi Mo as though waiting for Yi Mo to talk to her. After a long while, she saw they were still talking, so she could only interrupt. Are we going to level 2 now? Yes, of course. Yi Mo came back to his senses, realizing that Zhen Bingyu was getting suspicious. Okay, Martial Sister Bingyu, let's go together. I enjoyed talking to Martial Brother Yi, Shangwan quickly said. Seeing that Yi Mo didn't object, Zhen Bingyu could only nod, and the four walked towards level 2 together. Yi Mo wasn't going to actually trial with them together, but they could walk together for a while. He still had some questions to ask Shangwan. There was a barrier between level 1 and level 2, and it was very simple. Any golden immortal would be able to tear it open. After going in, Yi Mo didn't feel it was much different than level 1 other than the gravity increasing by quite a bit. Seeing Yi Mo still ask Shangwan all sorts of questions non-stop, Zhen Bingyu was really speechless. She would have already left if she didn't want to trial with Yi Mo. Not just Zhen Bingyu and Liao Nancheng. Even Shangwan noticed something wasn't right. Yi Mo seemed to be getting too close to her and clearly finding nonsense questions to ask. For example, which immortal city did Lu Jingquan live in? How many years has Lu Jingquan been cultivating? Which were the biggest sects in Yuheng Heaven? Would these sects listen to the Heaven Lord? At least to Shangwan, it seemed like Yi Mo was finding ways to talk to her. Shangwan didn't object against this. Yi Mo was not only an immortal pill master, but he also seemed very amicable. He didn't seem arrogant due to being an immortal pill master at all and knew how to respect people. So despite knowing that Yi Mo was sucking up to her, she still enjoyed talking. Wan, come over. Liao Nancheng couldn't take it anymore and didn't even call her martial sister. What is it, martial brother? I'm talking to martial brother Yi. Shangwan didn't even look back and kept introducing all the rules of the number 1 immortal city, Fenggang Immortal City, in Yuheng Heaven, and where the Heaven Lord's estate was in the city. Martial brother Yi, do you really like Yuheng Heaven? Shangwan laughed. Yi Mo was shook. He knew he was being too desperate. If he kept asking, she might notice that he cared about Lu Jingquan. Yi Mo quickly smiled. No, I want to know about every heaven domain. By the way, where is your Cloud River sect? Is there a big immortal city nearby? Can you tell me about it? Yi Mo quickly asked some other questions. Just when Yi Mo thought he asked enough, Zhen Bingyu couldn't take it anymore and asked, Yi Mo, do you still want to undergo trial? Right, I'm going to other places to trial. Martial Sister Shangwan will meet again, Yi Mo quickly said. Martial Sister Bingyu, aren't we going to undergo trial together? Shangwan looked at Zhen Bingyu in confusion. Zhen Bingyu frowned. Martial Sister Shangwan, I still have some other business with Martial Brother Yi. We can't go with you guys for now. We'll be off first. We'll meet again. Oh. Shangwan looked at Yi Mo reluctantly. She felt she could really get along with Martial Brother Yi. No matter what she said, Martial Brother Yi was a very good listener and asked a few questions sometimes for her to explain. This satisfied her pride greatly. She wanted to undergo trial with Yi Mo, but Martial Sister Bingyu seemed to be getting jealous. But she thought too much. She at most had a good impression towards Martial Brother Yi. Seeing the two leave, Liao Nancheng breathed easy. That pill master Yi was too shameless. He had a goddess like Zhen Bingyu with him, but still tried to chat up his martial sister. Yi Mo sat on the rainbow stamp with his brows locked tightly. Lu Jingquan was using immortals to calculate where he was. From this, it was certain that this bastard was trying to search for Luoyu continent. What if he went there? At this moment, Yi Mo felt he was so tiny. He knew where his enemies were, but he didn't have the power to touch them. Seeing Yi Mo frown and not talk, Zhen Bingyu sighed helplessly. Martial Brother Yi, you just got the Chaos Blue Reed and have such a good heritage. I don't feel you should put your mind on such things. Seeing Yi Emo frown and not talk, Zhen Bingyu sighed helplessly. Martial brother Yi, you just got the Chaos Blue Reed and have such a good heritage. I don't feel you should put your mind on such things. Yi Emo couldn't be bothered explaining, so he said, I like lust, mind your own business. Just take me to the body refinement place. I'm preparing for nirvana. Zhen Bingyu shook her head and couldn't be bothered persuading him. A month later, Yi Emo killed 8 more shadowless vultures before coming to a dark red forest. Where is this place? Yi Emo asked in confusion. There was nothing in his jade slip about the second level of the Chaos Star realm. Foam, Chuanma's brother, only went to trial at the first level. This is the Star Realm Fire Forest. The deeper inside, the higher the temperature. At the center of the forest, even immortal spirit body immortals won't be able to handle it. There are also fire beams in the depth that can't be seen, and with one mistake, you would be heavily injured. If you want to achieve nirvana, this is the best place, Zhen Bingyu said. Yi Emo nodded. It seemed teaming up with Zhen Bingyu had its benefits. At least he was very happy with this place for nirvana. Nirvana came from the ancient Phoenix clan. The ancestor of the Phoenix race had the first nirvana in the flames. Zhen Bingyu continued, If I was to come here alone, I would need a few years. You can't fly in the air at level 2 either, but there's also danger walking on the ground. There's a lethal force called Whirlpool Void. If cultivators accidentally go in, they will be swept to some unknown space and disappear. There's no sign to tell when it will appear. It might just be below you and you won't even know. Yi Emo sighed. Okay, thanks. Without you leading the way, I wouldn't be able to find this place. Let's go in. Zhen Bingyu slowed down the rainbow stamp and charged into the fire forest. A day later, Zhen Bingyu put the flying immortal artifact away as they landed on the dark red earth. This temperature was intolerable to ordinary immortals. If Zhen Bingyu wasn't King State, an abstruse immortal, she wouldn't be able to bear it too. After walking a while, Zhen Bingyu couldn't take it anymore. She was covered in sweat, and her clothes stuck to her body, outlining her beautiful curves. Seeing Yi Emo look at her, Zhen Bingyu said plainly, No need to look at me, and you don't need to say what you said to Shangwan to me. I won't do those sort of things with you. Yi Emo replied plainly as well, Didn't you say your body was just flesh and bones? You didn't mind before. Since it's so hot here, why don't you take off the clothes on your flesh and bones? This isn't something that can be solved by taking clothes off. Plus, I feel you're right. Even if it's just flesh and bones, one still needs to consider embarrassment. So, don't even think about me taking off clothes in front of you again, Zhen Bingyu said coldly. Since when did I say that? Yi Emo dazed. Zhen Bingyu sneered and said no more. She was greatly disappointed in Yi Emo's cultivation will. After walking for another half an hour, Zhen Bingyu stopped and announced, I'll practice body refinement here. You can go in further. Yi Emo nodded and kept walking deeper. After another 15 minutes, Yi Emo stopped at a space made up of 4 huge gray trees. The trees surrounding this area had fire rays that zoomed past from time to time. When Yi Emo stopped, the scorching heat turned all his clothes and armor to air. Yi Emo knew this was his limit. This would be where he reached nirvana. Invisible scorching flames surrounded Yi Emo. Even all his hair turned to dust now. The fire burned Yi Emo's body, making sizzling sounds. Yi Emo didn't care at all and just ran his body refinement cultivation method, trying to reach nirvana. As Yi Emo used his body refinement cultivation method, more invisible flames swept over. Even the invisible flames here had developed some consciousness after countless years. Yi Emo was having nirvana here, so he needed to gather immortal spirit chi, which in turn caused more fire rays to come. Countless fire rays struck him, and Yi Emo's God State body refinement defense started to cripple. A blood arrow shot out, but it soon turned to nothing. Yi Emo kept using his body refinement cultivation method, controlling the refinement of his body from his blood to his bones. When Yemo felt that his body couldn't take that terrifying laceration, he cut off a rather large branch from the chaos blue reed and immediately fused the entire chaos blue reed into his flesh. The dried-up blood and flesh revitalized with boundless life force. Blood, flesh, and essence blood was born again and refined. Eventually, Yemo's essence, spirit, and flesh fused together again like a new life. His hair started to grow slowly without being destroyed in the flame. At this moment, Yemo was completely asleep. His body floated up between the 4 trees. Yemo didn't know he would sleep during nirvana, or he would set up a defense formation no matter what. Eventually, Yemo didn't even need to consciously use the body refinement cultivation method as it ran itself. An invisible, powerful chi started to emanate from Yemo's body and slowly cover him. Eventually, it formed a plain mist on Yemo's body while more scorching heat rushed over from the fire forest. The mist didn't dissipate no matter what and kept circulating Yemo. 1 month, 2 months, half a year. Yemo didn't seem to wake up at all while the mist around him was weakening. Zhan Bingyu walked a few steps in joy. In half a year she had reached God state. She was planning to spend about 10 years to reach God state and use a few more decades to bring it to God state peak stage and then reach nirvana here. Yet, she reached God state in half a year. The body refinement cultivation method of Yemo was too absurd. She was certain that not even the 11 grand heaven domains had such absurd body refinement cultivation methods. Looking at her smoother and silkier skin, Zhan Bingyu didn't care. She didn't care if her skin looked good or not. If reaching God's state meant her skin would turn dry, she would still choose it. However, she knew that body refinement would only make one's body more and more perfect. Did he succeed with nirvana? Zhan Bingyu muttered and took out a set of clothes. She felt she seemed to have been affected by Yemo. Even though it was just flesh and bones, it was her privacy. Zhan Bingyu's cultivation level was higher than Yemo, and she had reached God state body refinement, so she could barely match Yemo's God state tertiary stage. She walked for about 15 minutes and saw Yemo hanging between 4 trees. There was a faint mist around Yemo, an immortal spirit chi circulating around his body. Clearly, he hadn't finished nirvana yet. Nirvana causes sleep? Zhan Bingyu asked herself in confusion and walked a few steps closer. As soon as she did, more terrifying flames instantly turned her clothes to ash. Looking at Yemo hanging in the air naked and looking at herself, she felt very strange. Chapter 1597. Breakthrough to Immortal Nirvana Body. Chapter 1597. Breakthrough to Immortal Nirvana Body. Yemo was not only lustful, but also a madman. If he wasn't a madman, he wouldn't cross the heaven domain void alone. If he wasn't a madman, he wouldn't steal the chaos blue reed from those great immortals. Zhan Bingyu thought of this, and subconsciously, quickly moving away. When she was at a place where she was unaffected, she quickly changed into a set of clothes and continued body refinement on the side, waiting for Yemo to wake up. 3 days later, Yemo felt a coolness in his sea of consciousness. He suddenly opened his eyes, and a powerful and free feeling surged up his mind. It was as though his body and soul fused together. His spirit sense and immortal essence greatly improved. His nirvana was successful. Yemo flipped up in surprise and joy. Looking at his perfectly shaped body, Yemo felt a deep sense of satisfaction. What surprised him more was that not only did he successfully nirvana, but his spirit sense and immortal essence were greatly increased. He was golden immortal middle stage peak, just 1 step away from golden immortal tertiary stage. So he hadn't reached this level before because his body wasn't strong enough. Immortal nirvana body was indeed hugely different from God state. This indescribable feeling made Yemo very satisfied. The terrifying temperature here and the dense fire rays were like nothing to him now. This powerful feeling was good indeed. Yi-Mo howled, releasing the excitement in his heart. Even if he fought with that abstruse immortal middle stage again, he could kill him with formations. Yi-Mo howled, wanting to find someone to share his joy. Nirvana was as important to him as reaching great immortal. He knew that using the Chaos Blue Reed to achieve nirvana, his body refinement future would be very smooth. By the way, Zhen Bingyu was here. How is she now? At least she could share the joy of his nirvana. Thinking about this, Yi-Mo used a few cleansing spells and changed into a new set of clothes and walked out of the 4 trees. But then he turned back and wrote the words, Yi-Mo reached nirvana here. He finally shared some of the joy in his heart before leaving slowly. Yi-Mo didn't go very far and saw Zhen Bingyu standing not far away. Yi-Mo was in a great mood. Even Zhen Bingyu didn't seem as annoying as before. Marshall's sister Bingyu, since you can come here, you must have reached God state right. Congratulations. Yi-Mo saluted with his fists and smiled. Zhen Bingyu coldly said, You want to congratulate yourself. If I'm not wrong, you probably successfully went through nirvana. That's right. Thanks for the news of Chaos Blue Reed you provided. Otherwise, even if I reached nirvana, it wouldn't be this perfect, Yi-Mo answered. By the way, did you long reach God state? Yi-Mo asked. Zhen Bingyu was indeed happy for Yi-Mo in her heart. She had seen Yi-Mo's efforts. Although he had a bad hobby, his pursuit for Tao and cultivation was no weaker than hers. Going through the heaven domain void, coming back bloodied for the Chaos Blue Reed, he must have gone through a lot. But she didn't like to show expressions and emotions. Her tone was still cold as she said, Thank you for your body refinement cultivation method. I indeed have long reached God state. I still want to see. Suddenly she stopped. Yi-Mo frowned. He was naked in body refinement cultivation. Plus, she wasn't at God state before, and spirit sense couldn't expand in the forest. So he didn't worry. Now that she was God state, she could get to him. Didn't that mean she saw everything? Thinking about this, Yi-Mo was a little uncomfortable. He glanced at her and said, You looked at me when I was sleeping in nirvana. No, Zhen Bingyu said, and blushed for the first time in her memory. She wasn't embarrassed for seeing Yi-Mo naked. It was her first time lying, and she wasn't used to it. No. Yi-Mo sneered. Did you know your face gets red when you lie? Or do you not know your face is red? Zhen Bingyu was lost for words. Of course she knew she blushed, but she didn't understand. She was an abstruse immortal and a God state body refinement. How come she couldn't control her blushing? I've already warned you that my body isn't just flesh and bones to me. Our Tao heart is different. If you're still going to be like this, we can only split up, Yi-Mo said. This time, Zhen Bingyu was truly angry. If it wasn't for her great Tao, she would have left already. There's nothing to see. You saw my flesh and bones too. If you want to see it, I'll show you again. Zhen Bingyu spoke coldly, but added uncomfortably, No matter how firm your cultivation will is, your Tao heart predestines you won't be able to reach very high. Yi-Mo couldn't be bothered to talk to her anymore, although Zhen Bingyu really wanted to cultivate till nirvana before leaving. Yi-Mo was planning to leave, so she could only follow. She knew the benefits of staying with Yi-Mo, so no matter how much Yi-Mo raged, she would follow him. She wouldn't mind as long as it would speed up her cultivation speed. Yi-Mo needed Zhen Bingyu too. She knew this place much better than him. If he wanted good trial grounds in here, he would need her to lead the way. Where do you want to go next? Zhen Bingyu asked, seeing that Yi-Mo ignored her. Is there a place to cultivate spirit sense? Yi-Mo knew cultivation state took a long while to improve, and spirit sense was very important to him. So he had to improve that quickly. You have a spirit sense cultivation method as well. Zhen Bingyu called out in shock. She had long suspected Yi-Mo of this. Yi-Mo shook his head. No, Can one not cultivate spirit sense without it? Yi Mo wasn't going to reveal it to Zhan Bingyu. Zhan Bingyu sighed but was still suspicious. Not really, but without a spirit sense cultivation method, it's extremely hard to cultivate spirit sense. There are many places here to cultivate spirit sense. The most famous place is the Corner Soul Domain. In the Corner Soul Domain, Yi Mo suddenly interrupted her. He thought of Corner Soul weeds. Why did the two sound the same? Yi Mo looked at Yi Mo in confusion and nodded. That's right, Corner Soul Domain, what about it? I'm an immortal pill master, you know. I've seen a jade slip about an immortal spirit herb that can repair soul and spirit sense. It's called Corner Soul Weed. Have you heard about it? Yi Mo asked casually. Zhen Bingyu nodded. Of course I have. In the immortal realm, it's the highest level item for cultivating spirit sense. Clear weed can be used to concoct dual spirit pills. It's a level 6 immortal pill and the best pill to repair spirit sense for those below status immortal. Dark weed is very hard to get, but it can be concocted into the level 9 immortal pill, Emperor Spirit Pill. Even status immortals have great difficulty getting it. It's extremely precious. I heard that Corner Soul Weed's appearance is related to the Corner Soul Domain. But I don't know if it's true or not because no one knows where there is Corner Soul Weed, Zhan Bingyu continued. Hearing this, Yi Mo's heart rustled. Other people didn't know, but he did. He had large amounts of Corner Soul Weeds too. Talk about the Corner Sea Domain. Why is it related to Corner Soul Weed? Yi Mo asked. Talk about the Corner Sea Domain. Why is it related to Corner Soul Weed? Yi Mo asked. Zhen Bingyu agreed. It said that in the ancient immortal realm, there was an unparalleled powerful being, a person called Mu Wushuang. He was solitary and didn't like to start trouble, but he liked the thing between men and women just like you. Yi Mo sneered. Since he liked that, then he shouldn't have been able to become a powerful being. How did he become one then? Zhan Bingyu didn't seem to realize Yi Mo's scorn and continued. It's because of this flaw that he didn't become the pinnacle powerful being, and his end was tragic. Mu Wushuang had 18 concubines, and every one of them was extremely beautiful. He loved them all until one day he was invited by the Heaven Lord of the number 1 heaven domain in the 33 heavens, Qing Wei Heaven's Wei Feng Immortal Emperor. Wei Feng Immortal Emperor was the number 1 immortal emperor of the 33 heavens. Although he wasn't necessarily the strongest, Mu Wushuang had to show him face, so he brought his 18 wives with him. Other than Mu Wushuang, he also invited the other 10 heaven lords of the 11 grand heaven domains. They were all immortal emperors. This immortal fruit party was supposed to be very good, but there are some things that even immortal emperors can't control. Just when the party was about to end, something happened. Yi Mo asked what happened. After the part, Wei Feng Immortal Emperor brought the guests to enjoy the view in his garden. But the problem happened there. Mu Wushuang saw the woman that he couldn't forget the most there. That was the person he loved the most before he reached Great Immortal. Then that female immortal disappeared, and he had never been able to find her. However, that woman was in Wei Feng Immortal Emperor's garden and was his concubine. Mu Wushuang was emotional and just charged at that female immortal and grabbed her, asking why. Zhan Bingyu sighed and shook her head. Yi Mo knew that Wushuang Immortal Emperor's actions were indeed too agitated. But then Yi Mo asked himself, if that was him, would he be able to calm down? If he saw Mu Shaorin at some immortal emperor's place, would he be able to calm down? Yi Mo shivered. He knew he wouldn't even if he knew the consequences. Then they fought. Yi Mo sighed. Zhan Bingyu nodded. They didn't fight on the spot, but Wei Feng Immortal Emperor was furious. The other few immortal emperors there persuaded him and finally calmed his anger. But Wushuang Immortal Emperor needed to compensate him. Originally, if he compensated, this would be over. However, Wu Shuang, Immortal Emperor, didn't care and was still going to take Wei Feng, Immortal Emperor's concubine. He said he needed to ask her face to face why this would be. Wei Feng, Immortal Emperor, was furious and said Wu Shuang had to leave all his 18 concubines behind or this wouldn't be over. The end result was that they all fought. Yi Mo sneered. Wei Feng, Immortal Emperor, and the other Immortal Emperors didn't know that woman was Wu Shuang, Immortal Emperor's woman before? Since they did, and they still let them accidentally meet each other, I don't think things are so simple. Zhan Bingyu looked coldly at Yi Mo and said, "If you dare to say this in front of someone else, I can promise you won't live for more than 3 years." Yi Mo knew Zhan Bingyu said this out of goodwill, so he didn't argue. Seeing this, Zhan Bingyu breathed easy and said, because reason was on Wei Feng, Immortal Emperor's side, when the two fought, the other 10 Immortal Emperors all helped Wei Feng, Immortal Emperor. Yi Mo was shook. This meant that Wu Shuang, Immortal Emperor, was just too powerful. Otherwise, even if he was wrong, the other Immortal Emperors didn't need to gang up on him. That battle was heaven shaking and earth rattling. They fought from Qing Wei Heaven to the Void, then the Void to Middle Heaven domains, and then to Low Heaven domains. Even countless planets in the cosmos were destroyed. If they weren't fighting in the Void, perhaps even Heaven domains would be destroyed. Wu Shuang, Immortal Emperor, hadn't attained the Tao, but his power was indeed unparalleled. More than 10 people attacked him, but he killed 9 Immortal Emperors and escaped into the Chaos Star Realm, heavily injured. Hearing this, Yi Mo was shook and immediately asked, "You're saying Wu Shuang is in the Chaos Star Realm?" Yes, he had nowhere to go, so he came here, but those Immortal Emperors chasing him were also heavily injured. They knew Wu Shuang, Immortal Emperor, was dead for sure, and didn't want to go in and die with him. The Chaos Star Realm at the time was different to now. Those who went in would die for sure, Zhan Bingyu said. Then Wu Shuang, Immortal Emperor, is certainly dead. Yi Mo asked again. Zhan Bingyu nodded. Probably because a few 100,000 years ago, a few more Immortal Emperors went in here together and saw the corpse of Wu Shuang, Immortal Emperor, at level 2. The Corner Soul Domain is a small world of Wu Shuang, Immortal Emperor. It said there is Wu Shuang, Immortal Emperor's heritage in the Corner Soul Domain. Over the years, countless people have gone there in search of Wu Shuang, Immortal Emperor's heritage, but no one has ever been able to find it. Then how did the Corner Soul weed appear? At the beginning, people found Corner Soul weeds at the Corner Soul Domain, but as more and more people went, there were less that could be found. Eventually, people couldn't find any. It was too easy to die in the Corner Soul Domain, so few people went. Tens of thousands of years later, people from the cultivation realm brought Corner Soul weeds here. It's really easy to die in the Corner Soul Domain. Yes, at the beginning there was less than a 50% chance of dying, and when the Corner Soul weed was found, the chances were even greater. Later on, the chances decreased, but people could only refine their spirit since there so few people went. Does Wu Shuang, Immortal Emperor, have something very important? Wu Shuang, Immortal Emperor, had multiple small worlds, and it said he also had a true spirit world. When he went into the Chaos Star Realm, his true spirit world disappeared. How could Wu Shuang, Immortal Emperor, fight so many Immortal Emperors at the same time? It's because he has the best spirit sense cultivation method. An Immortal Emperor who had the same cultivation level as him wouldn't be able to survive at all due to his spirit sense cultivation method. So that's it. Yi Mo nodded. He realized why he would be ambushed. A true spirit world wasn't as good as a chaos world, but it was countless times better than a small world. The truth spirit world could allow up to truth realization state cultivators to stay in. That Wei Feng, Immortal Emperor, was definitely a sinister person. Is Wei Feng, Immortal Emperor, still alive? Yi Mo disliked this Wei Feng, Immortal Emperor. This guy was a harm to the world. Zhan Bingyu looked speechlessly at Yi Mo, the most authoritative figure in the 33 heavens, is Wei Feng, Immortal Emperor. You tell me if he's alive. 100,000 years ago, he personally went to the Corner Soul Domain to check and learned that Wu Shuang, Immortal Emperor, was indeed dead. The 18 imprisoned concubines all disappeared too. Some say they committed suicide, while some say they ran away. Then what about the woman who started the trouble? How would I know? Zhan Bingyu rolled her eyes and continued. When you were at the Far Star Castle, did you see a few thousand Jifeng Heaven Domains immortals? I did. What's wrong? Yi Emo nodded. They're going to Corner Soul Domain to trial. I heard the conversation between two of them at level 1. They want to go find Wu Shuang, Immortal Emperor's heritage there, Zhan Bingyu said. Yi Emo asked in confusion. Didn't you say that in these few 100,000 years, no one has been able to find it? Zhan Bingyu frowned. I thought so too, but for some reason Jifeng Heaven is doing this. I was planning to go see too, but I met you and body refined until now. If you go in the Corner Soul Domain, your spirit sense will be limited. So immortals will try to extend their spirit sense. If they really did, then it meant your spirit sense was improving. Yi Emo said without hesitation, let's go there now. Ever since the death rate of the Corner Soul Domain dropped, a little less than half the immortals at level 2 went there. Ever since the death rate of the Corner Soul Domain dropped, a little less than half the immortals at level 2 went there. Although spirit sense cultivation methods were very rare, every cultivator knew about the importance of spirit sense. 10 days later, Zhan Bingyu's rainbow stamp landed outside some rubble. This is the Corner Soul Domain. Yi Emo looked at this endless ruin and asked. At this place, he thought of the Heartless Seas, Lost Soul Ruins. This place gave him a very eerie feeling. It didn't seem like a place for refining spirit sense. Yi Emo didn't expect that there had been a city here, but it was destroyed. Yes, this is Corner Soul Domain. Some people say it's Wu Shuang, Immortal Emperor's small world, and some say it's his true spirit world. But a long time ago, people indeed found some good things here. There were high-level immortal spirit herbs and top-grade cultivation methods. But more importantly, this was the best place to refine spirit sense, Zhan Bingyu explained. There were some immortals here who hadn't gone in. Seeing Yi Emo and Zhan Bingyu come down from the sky, they were all amazed. The shadowless vulture at level 2 was so much more powerful than at level 1. Although many people were curious, none came up to ask. Yi Emo looked like he was golden immortal, primary stage, but his ferocious chi was denser than ordinary abstruse immortals. Zhan Bingyu was extremely beautiful. Even immortals would take a few extra glances. Yi Emo didn't know what others thought. He just went through nirvana and couldn't hide his ferocious chi. Friend, are you not afraid of the shadowless vulture? An extremely bulky looking golden immortal peak stage walked up to Yi Emo and saluted with his fists. Yi Emo didn't mind and answered, my flying magic artifact can sense the shadowless vulture. So with preparation you can kill shadowless vulture as soon as they attack. So that means you've killed quite a lot of shadowless vultures, the golden immortal peak stage asked desperately. Yi Emo nodded. Not much, just 8. Friend, I have many immortal spirit herbs and forgery materials. Can I exchange some for some shadowless vulture cores and mane feathers? Then the golden immortal peak stage showed a few immortal spirit herbs and pulled out a pile of materials. Seeing these materials, Yi Emo was immediately interested. He couldn't forge a middle-grade immortal artifact yet, but there were some level 4 immortal-grade materials here. How much do you want to trade? Yi Emo asked. How about 5 pairs, no, just 4 pairs of mane feathers and 4 beast cores, the golden immortal peak stage asked desperately. Yi Emo thought for a moment. The value of these things were far higher than shadowless vulture mane feathers, but it was hard to hunt shadowless vultures, and the value wasn't easy to evaluate. 3 pairs plus 3 beast cores, Yemo said. Deal. The golden immortal peak stage gave his things all to Yemo. Seeing this, people all came over wanting to trade with Yemo. Seeing Yemo was willing to take forgery materials, people all used forgery materials to trade. After all, immortal spirit herbs were far more useful for cultivation. In a short while, all of the left-over shadowless vulture mane feathers were traded away. As for the shadowless vultures he hunted at level 2, Yemo didn't plan to trade them for the moment. The longer Zhen Bingyu stayed with Yemo, the more she felt she didn't understand him. She knew Yemo might be an immortal pill great master and was a level 2 immortal formation master. He was at least golden immortal middle stage and was an immortal nirvana body refinement cultivator. Now she began to suspect Yemo of being an immortal forgery master, an immortal forgery great master. But she didn't ask this, as she knew Yemo wouldn't say anything. After the exchange, even some abstruse immortal looked at Yemo with respectful glances. Yemo used genuine shadowless vulture materials to trade. This meant that he could hunt shadowless vultures whenever he wanted. How could someone like that be simple? Yemo walked to the bulky golden immortal peak stage and saluted with his fists. Friend, may I ask if you're going to corner Soul Domain for trial? Of course. The golden immortal peak stage was happy with Yemo and said, I come from Jifeng Heaven's great extreme immortal sect, Golden Light Sect. This is a trial and tournament for all the sects in Jifeng Heaven. How does it work? Yemo asked. People can't extend spirit sense out in the corner soul domain, but immortal essence remains unaffected. Whoever can find the most corner soul mushrooms is the winner, the golden immortal peak stage answered. Corner soul mushroom. Yemo frowned and looked Jinbingyu. Jinbingyu shook her head. The golden immortal peak stage smiled. It's nothing strange that you guys don't know. Corner soul mushroom haven't appeared in the corner soul domain for long, at most a few years. It's because they appeared that we're having this tournament. What's the use of the corner soul mushrooms? Yemo asked. They can be used to concoct spirit sense recovery pills, level 2 immortal pills. It has little use for great immortals, but are rather good for abstruse immortal and below. It can also be directly consumed, and one can even learn the use of spirit sense from it, the golden immortal answered. Yemo asked, Then have you found them? The cultivator shook his head. It's very hard to find them. I haven't even seen one yet. Then he passed a picture to Yemo. Look, this is corner soul mushroom. Yemo looked at the dull gray mushroom and saluted with his fists. Thank you, friend. We're going inside to refine spirit sense. Farewell. Then Yemo followed Jinbingyu into the ruins. As soon as they came in, he felt his spirit sense was suppressed to a meter, but he wasn't worried. With experience in the extreme star canopy, he would use his 3-birth chant and see if it could recover. Even if he couldn't, he wasn't scared now that he was an immortal nirvana body cultivator. But the only thing he worried about was that when he came in here, the eerie feeling grew more intense. Jinbingyu went with Yemo for a while before saying, Martial brother, my master had come in here a few times, and our sect leader has too. But they've never heard about some corner soul mushroom. I feel this is very strange. If they could repair spirit sense, then it would be very precious no matter what level they are. How can there be no news of them? Yemo nodded. This is strange indeed, but we haven't found one yet, so we don't know what's strange about it. We'll know after we find one. 3 days later, Yemo and Jinbingyu came to the depths of the corner soul domain. In a broken-down house, Yemo set up a stealth restriction and said to Jinbingyu, I'm going to see if I can recover my spirit sense. Jinbingyu nodded and just sat on the side, waiting for Yemo. After a day of trying, Yemo found his spirit sense extended over 2 meters, but it was harder to go any further. Yemo took out a clear weed and started using it while trying to extend his spirit sense. What shook Yemo was when he used corner soul weed. His spirit sense extended rapidly. After one was used up, his spirit sense could extend to a distance over 100 kilometers away. A day later, Yemo's spirit sense had completely recovered. He realized that this place could refine spirit sense for other cultivators, but not him. If his spirit sense could recover anywhere, then no place would be good for him. Just when Yemo wanted to leave, his spirit sense scanned that Zhan Bingyu was fighting with a fatty. Zhan Bingyu wasn't inside the house anymore, but clearly she was no match for that fatty. If that fatty wasn't toying with her, she would have been killed already. Just when Yemo wanted to leave, his spirit sense scanned that Zhan Bingyu was fighting with a fatty. Zhan Bingyu wasn't inside the house anymore, but clearly she was no match for that fatty. If that fatty wasn't toying with her, she would have been killed already. Yemo sneered and put away the formation flag. Zhan Bingyu was struck by the fatty and spat blood in the air before flying back towards Yemo. So you have an Antrigong. No wonder you didn't want to leave here. The fat man saw Yemo come back. Yemo caught Zhan Bingyu and gave her a pill. Rest for a while. I know this fat man. You're no match for him. Zhan Bingyu knew Yemo's power and nodded while retreating. What Yemo didn't expect was that when the fat man heard his words, there was shocking fury in his eyes. He said coldly, "So it's you too?" Yemo frowned and didn't talk, but the fat man asked, "Did you steal the Chaos Blue Reed?" This shocked Yemo. Did one have remnant chi of the Chaos Blue Reed after using it for body refinement? He didn't feel it at all. Zhan Bingyu was shook. She didn't expect Yemo stole the Chaos Blue Reed from this fat man. Yemo had such guts. This fat man was at least a golden immortal and had part of his spirit sense left. Zhan Bingyu quickly said, "This person has spirit sense equivalent to a hollow immortal." Yemo knew this fat man was called Han Wei-Chin, a great unity immortal. If this wasn't the corner soul domain, he would run as far away as he can. No matter how absurd a golden immortal middle stage was, there was no way he would be a match for a great unity immortal. What he was confused about was how this fat man knew he stole the Chaos Blue Reed. Then Yemo realized he shouldn't have said he knew this fat man. The fat man never saw him before, so he immediately thought of the extreme star canopy. "Tell me, is it you?" the fat man yelled, clearly not very sure, but his tone was shaky. He hoped it was Yemo who stole it. If it was, then he wouldn't need to split it with the rest of the three. He would get it and run away as far as possible and go into solitary cultivation. "You really talk too much." Yemo hacked over. Han Wei-Chin stopped talking. His killing intent exploded. The volatile immortal essence shook the space around him. He used all his power as a great unity immortal against Yemo. Even though he could only control his spirit sense to about hollow immortal through his secret technique, it wasn't something Yemo could stop. There was seriousness in Yemo's eyes. He used illusion cloud formation kill strike immediately. This was his cultivation realm sword ability, but as his power increased, it was far from what it was before. Yemo hacked out the endless sword rays, while Han Wei-Chin's red tower smashed down too. Yemo breathed easy, however. If Han Wei-Chin didn't use magic and just fought with him head-on, he would have to dodge, but magic was limited by spirit sense. He was an immortal nirvana body, so he could take a blow from hollow immortal spirit sense despite his powerful immortal essence. So Yemo ignored the tower and instead used illusion cloud domain kill strike next. He also released tens of dark lightning bolts and shadowless. Han Wei-Chin's red tower grew bigger and bigger, but it didn't land. The faint red rays had shone upon Yemo already. A tearing pain came, and Yemo was shocked. He didn't expect his immortal nirvana body would be damaged by such red light. But Yemo didn't have time to change his tactics anymore. He could only use more immortal essence and spirit sense on activating Zisu. Immortal nirvana body? It's you indeed, Dai. Han Wei-Chen knew, he guessed right, seeing Emo was a body refinement cultivator. But the next moment, when tens of lightning bolts landed on him, he called out in shock. Your spirit sense isn't reduced at all. How did you do it? Emo wasn't going to reply. Black lightning soared, followed wave after wave. He also cut out tens of spirit sense blades. The red tower smashed towards Emo like a meteor, while Emo's spirit sense had cut the border of this fatty's sea of consciousness. Immediately, Han Wei-Chen's spirit sense withered, and his sea of consciousness was heavily injured. At the same time, he spat a mouthful of blood. The red tower that lost control smashed onto Emo's body, making him spit a mouthful of blood, but it also fell on the ground, losing its vibrance. Spirit sense cultivation method. Han Wei-Chen called out in shock. At the same time, he smashed his fist at Emo. He couldn't use any more magic artifacts, as his sea of consciousness was damaged. Yemo's Su also hacked towards Han Wei-Chen, spraying out mists of blood. Even though a great unity immortal only used his fist, the force was dominating. The fist locked the nearby space immediately. Even if Emo wanted to run, he would be able to break away from the immortal essence, fist wind. Emo was shocked. He didn't expect the immortal essence, binding of a great unity immortal punch, to be the same as a powerful domain. There was no choice but to take it head-on. In his shock, Emo could only run his immortal essence like crazy while trying to use Su to block it. At the same time, he urged Shadowless to attack. The difference in cultivation level was too huge. Even though Emo had spirit sense, he couldn't take the upper hand in the battle. If it was in the extreme star canopy, he might be able to win, as Han Wei-Chen's immortal essence would be bound to. Seeing the big fist smash over, Emo wanted to use Su to block it, but he was missing just that one bit. Just when Emo was extremely desperate, Han Wei-Chen's fist slowed down. Emo was overjoyed. Shadowless must have succeeded. He wasn't going to waste this opportunity. Su came before the fist and hacked down Illusion Cloud Hua Mountain Strike. Such a cunning bastard! There was madness in Han Wei-Chen's eyes as he punched, disregarding Su. Splurge Su hacked in the middle of the fist, splitting it in half, but it didn't slow down at all, and punched Emo. Emo spat many mouthfuls of blood. He felt he was sucked up by the fist, and the crazy immortal essence on the fist kept passing over. A sliver of despair flashed in Emo's eyes. He didn't expect a great immortal without spirit sense to still be this powerful. Even though he had Shadowless to help, he was still no match. If he didn't have an immortal nirvana body, he might be dead now. The endless immortal essence charged into Emo's body. Emo couldn't run away, but he knew when Shadowless was forced out of Han Wei-Chen's body, that would be when he would be killed. Crack, there was a light sound, but Emo knew his meridians cracked. But what made Emo rejoice was that the ravaging immortal essence suddenly disappeared. Emo fell down, and before he went unconscious, he saw Han Wei-Chen's head fly out while Shadowless chased up to Han Wei-Chen's essence, spirit, and devoured it. Zhen Bingyu held a black sword and grabbed Han Wei-Chen's storage ring. Emo breathed easy before he fell unconscious. He knew Zhen Bingyu wasn't a dark-hearted person. When Emo woke up, he smelled a faint aroma, and there was a soft sensation. Immediately, he realized he was laying on Zhen Bingyu's back. Emo knew that Zhen Bingyu didn't kill him and take his things. But then he saw there wasn't just her. There were a few hundred people here. When Emo woke up, he smelled a faint aroma, and there was a soft sensation. Immediately, he realized he was laying on Zhen Bingyu's back. Emo knew that Zhen Bingyu didn't kill him and take his things. But then he saw there wasn't just her. There were a few hundred people here. What was going on? Emo frowned, but soon felt a tearing pain all over his body. He quickly took out a few pills and ate them. As soon as Emo woke up, Zhen Bingyu noticed. She said without turning around, "A lot of corner soul mushroom has been found. Some people found a hidden entrance below it. I'm heavily injured. Why did you take me here?" Yi Mo asked in confusion. Zhan Bingyu fell silent and said, "Because they said this is the heritage ground of Wu Shuang, Immortal Emperor. So they all came. I didn't want to miss this opportunity, so I came over." Yi Mo knew she didn't save him because she had a good impression of him, but since they were still in cooperation. Yi Mo said no more and threw Shadowless from his clothes into the Golden Page world. Then he used some time quickly to recover on Zhan Bingyu's back. He was really afraid this martial Sister Bingyu would leave him here. Luckily, she said nothing and didn't leave him behind. 5 minutes later, Yi Mo recovered some of his power. His immortal nirvana body helped him. Even his broken meridians repaired quickly. "Goddess Bingyu, if there is Wu Shuang Immortal Emperor heritage, why don't we work together?" An abstruse immortal middle stage quickly came to Zhen Bingyu and asked softly. Zhan Bingyu said plainly, "I'm already working with someone else, martial brother. Go find someone else." The abstruse immortal middle stage looked at Emo and said, "This friend is your martial brother? Or did he come in with you?" Zhan Bingyu frowned and said coldly, "No, we cooperated after we came in." The abstruse immortal middle stage suddenly said no more, but sound transmission to Zhen Bingyu, "If that's the case, then I suggest you put him down first. Otherwise, if Wu Shuang Immortal Emperor's heritage appears, you wouldn't even be able to stay alive, much less try to take it. If we work together, we can split evenly. Plus, I'm abstruse immortal middle stage." It was a pity spirit sense was suppressed here, so Yi Mo heard it clearly. Zhan Bingyu looked coldly at the abstruse immortal middle stage and walked forward rapidly. "Luo Wufa, you don't want to cooperate with Bingyu Goddess, right? I think you want to dual cultivate with her," another abstruse immortal middle stage said. Luo Wufa scanned the man and said plainly, "Even if it's dual cultivation, it's not like she's losing out." Would I mistreat an abstruse immortal primary stage goddess? The thing is she would rather carry an golden immortal insect than dual cultivate with you. "What can you do?" the man asked. Luo Wufa said calmly she will want to. 6 minutes later, the people ahead stopped, and so did Zhen Bingyu. "There seems to be a defense restriction ahead," someone said. "Attack together. After a few 100,000 years, this defense formation won't be tough," someone said. "Clearly," everyone agreed, and moments later all sorts of magic artifacts smashed onto the defense restriction. Although spirit sense was suppressed, the restriction quickly broke with this many immortals attacking it. An ancient black jade door was revealed. After going inside, there was a huge round-shaped stadium. The ground was covered in blue warm jade, and the surroundings were silky smooth. "Why is there nothing?" someone asked disappointedly. There really was nothing here. These ward jades were eternal wealth for ordinary mortals, but they were worth nothing to the immortals here. In their disappointment, many started attacking the walls, but only rocks fell, nothing else. Many people sat down in disappointment, but no one left. They all had a sliver of hope for the stadium. Some formation experts started calculating if there were stealth formations here. Zhen Bingyu and sat to the side with Yi Mo. "Thank you," Yi Mo said. This time he was truly grateful to Zhen Bingyu. This made him feel it was useful to work with someone in the Chaos Star realm. If he was by himself, he might have been killed by Han Weichen already. Zhen Bingyu said plainly, "No need, you only need to not treat me as a useless person." Then she took out a gray mushroom and passed it to Yi Mo. "This is a corner soul mushroom. Many people found them, and I collected a few too." Yi Mo took it and looked at it, but suddenly his face changed greatly. He put the mushroom away and didn't give it back to her. Instead, he asked, "How many did you get?" "3, Zhen Bingyu said coldly. "Give them all to me," Yi Mo said without hesitation. Zhen Bingyu frowned. Corner soul mushrooms were level 2 immortal spirit herbs, but they could repair spirit sense. This was sometimes more valuable than level 4 immortal spirit herbs and even ordinary level 5 immortal spirit herbs. She kept 2 for herself and 1 for Yi Mo from how Yi Mo divided loot. But Zhen Bingyu didn't reject and gave the remaining 2 to Yi Mo. They're all here. Take them. Then Yi Mo heard a scorning voice. Parasite! You're living on a woman. Shameful thing. The voice was loud, and everyone in the stadium heard it. Even those few formation masters looked at Yi Mo. Yi Mo was only golden immortal primary stage. If it wasn't for that extremely beautiful, abstruse immortal goddess, he wouldn't even be able to come in, and yet he was so demanding to her. Yet Zhen Bingyu still obediently listened to Yi Mo. Making everyone feel her following Yi Mo was such a waste. Zhen Bingyu heard it too, but she didn't care at all. Yi Mo smiled and said weakly, Qian Bei, this corner's soul mushroom can indeed repair spirit sense. I feel it's very good, so I kept it. Seeing this, more people were contemptuous. Immortals always respected the strong. People had no sympathy for the weak. Luo Wufa saw this and laughed. He walked up to Yi Mo and said, I want your 3-corner soul mushrooms. I'll give you 10 immortal crystals. Give them to me. Then he added, Oh, by the way, I only have low-grade immortal crystals, nothing else. Yi Mo laughed. Since Qian Bei wants it, then take it. I don't dare to ask for immortal crystals. Then Yi Mo gave the 3-corner soul mushroom to this abstruse immortal middle stage without hesitation. Haha, Luo Wufa laughed. Not just him, but all the cultivators in the stadium laughed as well. They looked down on Yi Mo's cowardice. He dared to come here and try to get Wu Shuang, immortal emperor's heritage, with such guts? Zhen Bingyu frowned, but didn't say anything. She knew Yi Mo very well. He wasn't someone to lose out. He even dared to rob a great Unity immortal and kill him, much less this abstruse immortal middle stage. Yi Mo patted his clothes and got up. Marshal Sister Bingyu, I've recovered, let's go. There are too many Qian Bais here. Even if Wu Shuang, immortal emperor's heritage, comes, there's not a share for us. Even Zhen Bingyu couldn't take it this time and said coldly, This chance is 1 in a million years. If you want to go out, you go out. I'll stay here. Plus, I thought you didn't fear anything. You don't dare to talk to a mere abstruse immortal middle stage? Zhen Bingyu was still unhappy the mushrooms were taken. I don't fuss with dead people. Just when Yi Mo said this, he heard a joyful voice. This stadium is indeed a formation. There are 8 formation doors. Yi Mo and Zhen Bingyu looked up, and 8 hidden formation doors appeared on the stone pillars. You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.